Chapter 1886. As almighties, our power is not something ants like you can imagine. Now go to hell and repent. The red-robed almighty snorted. Endless rays of light shot out from his body as if a flaming divine beast had descended. Accompanying it was an unimaginable power. In an instant, it enveloped the entire northern Liang city. At this moment, whether it was the sacred land warriors who were fighting against the array, or Zhang Xiao and Lu Mingyue, their expressions changed drastically. They could feel a powerful force enveloping their surroundings. The almighties have made their move, everyone exclaimed. As for the cultivators outside the city, their bodies were also trembling. Although many of them could not see the situation inside, no one left. Instead, more and more people gathered here. Suddenly, a powerful force surged out from the city and enveloped the area. Immediately, these warriors trembled and almost knelt on the ground. Almighties, the almighties have made their move. Everyone screamed when they felt the pressure. Who is inside? Even the almighties have made their move. Many people's eyes lit up as they wanted to find out what was going on. In the city, the red-robed almighty was like a god of war with supreme majesty. Boom! In the next moment, a red palm slapped toward Lin Xian and the crimson dragon. The void trembled as heaven and earth exploded in an instant. The terrifying red palm rushed over like a red mountain. It was unbearable. Buzz! Lin Xian and the crimson dragon's pupils shrank. Although they spoke frivolously, they had never been careless. After all, the other party was an almighty. This was also Lin Xian's first time fighting an almighty. An almighty was an extremely powerful person among the kings. Their cultivation was usually at the level of a 7-star king. Such a person was extremely terrifying. They had powerful supernatural powers, so they were called almighties. At this moment, seeing the red palm slapping toward them, Lin Xian and the crimson dragon quickly used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and raised their speed to the limit. Boom! The red palm slammed down and exploded the void. However, Lin Xian and the crimson dragon managed to dodge the attack by a hair's breadth. He actually dodged it. The mighty figure in red looked surprised. He didn't expect that these 2 ants would be able to dodge his attack. What a strange movement technique, to actually be able to dodge my attack. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. It turns out that you have such a strange movement technique. You 2 ants, do you really think that you can fight against a mighty figure with just this movement technique? As expected of an ignorant ant. By the side, the mighty figure in blue sneered, although the other party dodged their attack. So what? They did not think that 2 ants could fight against them. On the other side, Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He said to the crimson dragon, "Roussillon, let's begin. Try to delay him." "All right." Roussillon nodded. He then took out the 10,000 bee sting, and a few ancient shields appeared around him. Previously, Lin Xian had given him quite a few earth tier treasures, and now he was using them. In the next moment, he swung his dragon tail and quickly charged forward. "Impudent snake, you're courting death. I'll stew you with snake soup today." The mighty figure in red sneered. The other party actually dared to come over. He really didn't know what was good for him. On the other side, Lin Xian also used the dragon sword realm and instantly enveloped the mighty figure in blue. The mighty figure in blue did not dodge at all, nor did he resist. This was because a 5-star king's realm could not hurt him at all. He wanted to see where the other party's confidence came from. What methods did he have to compete with a mighty figure? Countless sword chi surrounded him as if it was a world of swordsmanship. As for the mighty figure in blue, endless blue light surrounded him, forming a huge divine bell to protect his body. "Brat, I advise you to surrender obediently. Call out the person behind you. You alone can't set up such a killing array. I really want to know which faction you are from. Did they send any mighty figures this time?" The mighty figure in blue did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. In his opinion, There must be other experts hidden in the city. You want to find the person behind me? Sure, defeat me first. Then he pulled out the 9 darkness demonic sword, his entire body exuding a monstrous killing intent. The dragon sword realm around him cooperated and quickly slashed out shocking sword chi, slashing forward. It was like a vast sea, extremely terrifying. It's useless. The mighty figure in blue looked disdainful. With a wave of his sleeve, a vast blue light surged out, blocking the sword chi that filled the sky. Then he snorted coldly, and the sword chi around him shattered into pieces. Did you see that, kid? Your attack is nothing in front of me. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He had to admit that the mighty figure was too terrifying. With his attack, even the saint would have to resist it with all his strength. However, the other party only waved his palm and destroyed all his sword chi. This was something he had never encountered before. However, since he had already decided to make a move, he naturally could not back down. He stomped his foot and turned into a sword light, slashing down with the demonic sword in his hand. It's useless. The mighty figure in blue sneered disdainfully. He stretched out his palm and grabbed at the air. Buzz! Suddenly, the entire void was imprisoned. It was as if an invisible quagmire had appeared around him, causing Lin Xian's speed to rapidly decrease. With a cold snort, countless sword lights shot out from Lin Xian's body and escaped the restraints of space. Then, the demonic sword pierced forward. This sword strike even carried a loud and clear dragon roar. Ka-ka-ka! The 9 darkness demonic sword slashed on the blue light screen, creating a shocking collision. Then it tore a crack. However, that was all he could do because the demonic sword could not go any further. This time, the mighty figure in blue was also surprised. He did not expect that the other party could tear his blue light screen. This indeed shocked him. However, he did not think that it was Lin Xian's ability. Instead, he stared at the 9 darkness demonic sword. He did not expect that an ant would have such a treasure sword. It seemed to be at least an upper-grade, earth-rank treasure. Not bad, not bad. I just happen to lack a suitable weapon. You can give me this demonic sword. The mighty figure in blue's eyes lit up. It was obvious that he had his eyes on the demonic sword. Give it to your ass. Lin Xian snorted. The great dragon sword soul was activated crazily, and his battle strength increased again. A terrifying sword chi swept through the void. At the same time, he waved his left fist. The apocalyptic black dragon fist's violent aura turned into a ferocious black dragon and rushed out. Boom, boom, boom. The apocalyptic black dragon fist shook the mountains and rivers and exploded the void. However, when it hit the blue light screen, it seemed to have merged with the sea. It only caused a small splash and did not completely destroy the blue light screen. Chapter 1887. Ant, you're too weak. The mighty figure in blue sneered and waved his hand. A terrible power instantly rushed toward Lin Xian. Suddenly, Lin Xian's scalp went numb. He felt an unprecedented crisis. The next moment, he performed the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and quickly dodged. At the same time, the black armor wrapped around his body. Whoosh! He appeared on the other side and dodged most of the attacks. However, the power of the mighty figure was too terrible. Some of the aftershocks hit him and sent him flying. Boom! Lin Xian crashed into more than a dozen buildings before he stopped. The mighty figure in blue sneered with his hands behind his back. Ant, it's over. Then he stopped paying attention to Lin Xian and turned to look at the other battlefields. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon was also sent flying. The Saintess of All Beginnings and Lu Mingyue were locked in a fierce battle. The other kings were trying their best to resist the bombardment of the arrays. I didn't expect there to be so many arrays here. They're too much of an eyesore. It's better to tear them apart. The two mighty figures sneered and decided to attack the arrays around them. Boom! Boom! However, just as they were about to take action, shocking energy exploded in the two ruins behind them. Then two figures appeared. One was Lin Xian. His black hair was dancing wildly, and his body was surrounded by sword qi. The black armor shone brightly and covered his body. Therefore, he was hit, but it was not a fatal injury. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon was also baring his fangs and brandishing his claws. He had the body of a divine dragon and was originally a mighty figure. Therefore, at this moment, although the attack hurt him, it did not break his dragon body. Old man, you've succeeded in infuriating me. I'll let you know how powerful I am. Lin Xian gnashed his teeth. The dragon sword soul in his body had reached its limit and was about to break out of his body. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon roared crazily. Damn, old man, how dare you hit Ben Huang? Ben Huang will tear you apart. Kill! Kill! After two roars, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon rushed over again. Roar! The Crimson Dragon roared, and its body suddenly expanded into a 100-meter-long divine dragon. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it charged forward. Terrifying dragon might filled the air. What? It's actually a divine dragon. This time, the red-clothed Almighty frowned. He didn't expect that the creature he thought was a snake was actually a dragon. Boom! In the next moment, he used his great magic power to fight against the Crimson Dragon. On the other side, Lin Xian's body was also shining with golden light. His terrifying aura soared into the sky. A dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in front of him, and he grabbed it. Boom! With a swing of the sword, the terrifying sword qi was like a vast ocean. Useless brat, the mighty figure in blue sneered disdainfully. He waved his palm again and slapped forward. He could easily shatter such an attack. Boom! Crack, crack. However, this time his expression changed. That was because the terrifying sword qi had actually split apart the blue screen of light and slashed at his palm. A bloody scar appeared on his palm. How is that possible? He actually broke through my defense. The mighty figure in blue narrowed his eyes in disbelief. He was a mighty figure, a supreme existence. Even the saint couldn't break through his defense. But the 5-star king in front of him had done it. It was unbelievable. Damn brat, how dare you hurt me? I'll make you pay a painful price. The mighty figure in blue was furious. Previously, when he fought with Lin Xian, he was like a cat playing with a mouse. In his opinion, Lin Xian was just an ant that he could crush with a little force. Now he was bitten by an ant. He couldn't stand it. So what if you're a mighty figure? Today I'll defy the heavens. Lin Xian's expression was cold, and a terrifying sword qi rushed out quickly. Roar! The monstrous sword qi turned into a black dragon that emitted a powerful force and charged forward. Brat, you're still too inexperienced to fight with me. The mighty figure in blue sneered and spat out a surging river that swept toward Lin Xian. In the next moment, the sword qi true dragon collided with the roaring river, emitting violent energy in the air. In the face of this energy, the mighty figure in blue didn't retreat. Instead, he charged toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian was wearing the black battle armor and using the heavenly dragon's 8 steps. He dodged quickly. Buzz! In the blink of an eye, the mighty figure in blue arrived near Lin Xian and slapped his palm mercilessly again. Lin Xian's pupils constricted as he felt a fatal danger. In the next moment, he flipped his left hand and the Hell God's spear appeared in his hand. He stabbed forward. A terrifying aura shot into the sky and pierced through the void to meet the terrifying palm. Boom! With an explosion, Lin Xian was sent flying and spat out blood from the corner of his mouth. However, the mighty figure also took 3 steps back. It was another upper, earth-level treasure. The mighty figure in blue was shocked. He didn't expect the other party to have so many treasures. Good boy, It seems that I've underestimated you. But when you die, all the treasures on you will be mine." This time, the mighty figure in blue's aura rose again. He was like a demon king that could crush the 9 heavens. Buzz! Not only that, but he also spat out a terrifying sound wave from his mouth. The sound wave was like a demonic sound that carried a powerful soul attack. The kings in the surroundings were affected as well. What a terrifying soul attack! All the warriors around retreated. They didn't dare to fight against the aftermath of the sound wave. For a moment, there was a vacuum around Lin Xian. That boy wants to compete with the mighty figure? He's overestimating himself. He was definitely dead. This attack would definitely extinguish his soul. The warriors of the holy ground of all beginnings who were fighting against the formation in the distance sneered when they saw this. Competing with soul power? Lin Xian sneered. His current soul power was no weaker than the mighty figures. Therefore, his soul power gushed out and turned into a transparent sword chi that slashed forward. Boom! 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 The two soul power collided in the air and swept out in all directions with them as the center. At this moment, not only did the kings in the city feel a powerful soul pressure, but even the warriors watching the battle outside the city trembled and almost knelt on the ground. It's a soul attack. Oh my God, who is fighting? Just the aura alone is hard to resist. Mighty figures, this is definitely a fight between two mighty figures. Heavens, that mysterious organization is really terrifying. They can send out mighty figures. Outside the city wall, exclamations came. Although they couldn't see the situation inside, they judged that it was a fight between two mighty figures based on the energy fluctuation and the strength of the soul power. Of course, this was only their guess. If they saw that the one fighting with the mighty figure was Lin Xian, how surprised would they be? Chapter 1888. In the city, the mighty figure in blue looked very upset. In his opinion, the other party dared to fight him with soul power, which was simply courting death. But now he found that was not the case. The other party's soul power was very powerful and had reached the level of a mighty figure. It was not weaker than his at all. He couldn't believe it at all. If a saint relied on various magical powers and magic treasures to fight him to a draw, he would be shocked. Although he was shocked, he could still accept it. But the other party was only a 5-star king who was even weaker than a saint. Not to mention fighting against a mighty figure like him. But now the other party had done it. Although he was at a disadvantage, he couldn't kill the other party in a short time. What worried him even more was that the other party had endless magic treasures and magical powers, and the more he fought, the more powerful he became. Who knew if this was the other party's ultimate combat power? Maybe it would increase after a while. On the other side, the mighty figure in red was also shouting angrily. Obviously, he had also suffered a strong blow. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon was absolutely powerful. Although he hadn't fully recovered his magical powers, he was powerful enough to fight against a mighty figure. Therefore, the two of them fought fiercely, and the mighty figure in red was completely restrained. As for the other warriors in the city, they were all dumbfounded. The Holy Land martial practitioners who were fighting against the array were dumbstruck when they saw this scene. They didn't expect the other party to be able to fight against a mighty figure. It was really amazing. Damn it! Who the hell are they? How can they fight against a mighty figure? God, I'm not dreaming, am I? These people were so shocked that one or two of them were so excited that they accidentally forgot to defend themselves and were directly killed by those arrays. Damn it! Stop watching, hurry up and defend. Let's fight against these arrays first. Even if they can fight against a mighty figure, they absolutely can't defeat him. Angry shouts came one after another, and these people once again fought against the arrays in the sky with all their strength. On the other side, two fairy-like women were also fighting fiercely. But sensing the situation in front of her, the beautiful face of the saintess of all beginnings also changed. Impossible! How can they fight against a mighty figure? The saintess of all beginnings was shocked. Nothing is impossible. Although he is only a 5-star king, his power is absolutely beyond your imagination. Ordinary saints were no match for him. What? Ordinary holy sons are no match for him? The holy maiden of all beginnings was really shocked this time. The holy sons and holy daughters were the top geniuses of the younger generation. However, the saints were also divided into strong and weak. Some of the stronger saints could indeed see through Hungnam. However, there weren't many of them. However, he wasn't a holy son at all. He was only a 5-star king, yet he was able to contend against an almighty at this moment. This truly surprised her greatly. Damn it! Where did you find such a person? The saintess of all beginnings looked at Lu Mingyue with killing intent surging in her eyes. She couldn't figure it out. Lu Mingyue was just someone who had been abandoned by the Holy Land. How could she have found such a powerful helper? Humph. Lu Mingyue didn't bother to answer at all. Instead, she sped up her attacks. He knew that although Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were strong and could fight against powerful beings, they wouldn't be able to last for long. After all, the power of a powerful figure was too terrifying, so she had to finish off the saintess of all beginnings as soon as possible. You want to defeat me? You're daydreaming. The saintess of all beginnings naturally understood this and immediately sneered. These days, with the full cultivation of the Holy Land, her strength was still extremely terrifying. She believed that she had definitely surpassed Lu Mingyue. The next moment, she waved her hand and blasted forward. Endless chaotic aura gushed out, and streaks of chaotic lightning exploded in the air like thunder. A large amount of energy flew in the air, which was extremely terrifying. Lu Mingyue was moved because the other party was indeed too powerful. However, she had also obtained a lot of opportunities, and her combat strength had reached the level of a holy daughter. Therefore, even though she was shocked, she was fearless. The next moment, Lu Mingyue waved the willow leaf saber in her hand, which turned into pieces of saber light that destroyed everything and completely dissolved the terrible light palm. The saintess of all beginnings was also shocked. She didn't expect that Lu Mingyue had also reached the level of a holy daughter. Before she became a saintess, she and Lu Mingyue were both saintess in training. However, now that she had become a holy daughter and received the full cultivation of the Holy Land, her strength had greatly improved and directly reached the level of a holy daughter. Moreover, she thought that Lu Mingyue was still at the level of a holy daughter candidates. Although there was only a difference of 2 words, the gap between a real holy daughter and holy daughter candidates was huge. It was like a gap between heaven and earth that couldn't be crossed. However, to her surprise, Lu Mingyue had also broken through and reached the level of a real holy daughter. This greatly surprised her. Humph! So what if you've reached the level of a holy daughter? Compared with me, you're still far behind, because you don't have a holy land to back you up. Speaking of this, the saintess of all beginnings' expression was extremely solemn. Countless chaotic aura directly enveloped her. At the same time, a huge chaotic domain soared into the sky and swept toward Lu Mingyue. Lu Mingyue shouted coldly, not afraid at all. Her king's domain also emerged. The next moment, the 2 domains collided in the air. Boom! Boom! This was a fierce battle. Both of them had the combat strength of a holy daughter, so at this moment they were evenly matched. The 2 kings' domains kept colliding, bursting out brilliant lights one after another. The void cracked, the earth trembled, and countless cracks spread in all directions. The saintess of all beginnings was like a fairy. Her expression was cold, and her palms moved with powerful energy and terrible killing intent. Lu Mingyue also felt great pressure, but she didn't panic. Instead, she calmly dealt with it, because she believed that she could definitely kill her opponent. Boom! 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 After another fierce collision of domains, Both of them kept retreating and spitting out blood. At this moment, against her beautiful face, there was a different kind of beauty. Kill! Lu Mingwe shouted with a murderous look. Both of them were holy daughters, so she had absolute confidence that she could kill her opponent. In the next moment, she changed her previous route. Instead of being incomparably ethereal, she opened and closed wide. The long saber in her hand was like a demonic saber, slashing in all directions. At this moment, Lu Mingyue seemed to have transformed into a demon, which was extremely terrifying. The saintess of all beginnings' expression finally changed. She didn't expect her opponent to be so powerful that she couldn't suppress her. This made her extremely uneasy and even a little crazy. Impossible, damn it, this is impossible. I don't believe it. Bitch, go to hell. The saintess of all beginnings was really angry. After becoming a holy daughter, she was superior and didn't take all her previous opponents seriously. Chapter 1889. However, Lu Mingyue, her former opponent, was no weaker than her at this moment. In fact, she was even stronger than her. The saintess of all beginnings couldn't accept this. Damn bitch, go to hell. The saintess of all beginnings' expression was a little ferocious. The next moment, her slender hands quickly formed a seal, and endless light erupted from her king's domain. Finally, the chaotic energy quickly trembled and transformed into a figure that was exactly the same as the saintess of all beginnings. A total of 3 figures appeared, each of which was like the real saintess of all beginnings. These were the chaotic doppelgangers. Lin Xian had killed such a doppelganger before. However, he didn't expect the saintess of all beginnings to refine 3 chaotic doppelgangers. 3 wanton doppelgangers appeared, floating in the king's domain. They didn't attack. Instead, they sat cross-legged in the air, exuding a mysterious aura. Every single one of them was flawless and extraordinary, as if they were fairies who had descended from the heavens. Their slender hands formed a seal, forming one strange seal after another. Then a vast aura gushed out from their bodies, forming a Tao diagram in the sky that wanted to suppress Lu Mingyue. So powerful! Lu Mingyue was moved. She knew about this kind of chaotic doppelganger, but she hadn't cultivated it at that time. She didn't expect the other party to have cultivated it. She knew that there would be a fierce battle, so she didn't rush to attack. Instead, a purple armor appeared on her body, completely covering her delicate body. After putting up a good defense, Lu Mingyue finally attacked. She raised her left hand, and countless chaotic lights surrounded her. Then she slapped out. The chaotic energy tumbled all over the sky, forming a kunpeng. It was incomparably huge, crushing the 9 heavens, and quickly flew toward the saintess of all beginnings. Humph! The saintess of all beginnings coldly snorted, and the king's domain behind her flickered. The 3 chaotic doppelgangers' palms were constantly changing seals. Each doppelganger bloomed with incomparably bright light. They were like fairies, incomparably sacred. Countless runes rushed out of the 3 doppelgangers' bodies, turning into a heavenly hand that slapped forward. Boom! In the next moment, the white, jade-like palm collided with the terrifying kunpeng. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. The violent energy formed a storm, spreading in all directions. Boom! Boom! The surrounding buildings instantly collapsed. Even the distant All Beginnings Holy Land's martial artists and the array formations in the sky were affected and dimmed. One could imagine how terrifying this attack was. Whoosh! Lu Mingyue's body swayed, and the willow leaf saber in her hand unleashed a saber light, splitting apart the terrifying energy storm. Then he quickly charged forward. In the blink of an eye, she arrived above the saintess of all clans and slashed down with her long saber. The saintess of all beginnings looked up at the scene with a strange light in her beautiful eyes. The 3 clones behind her provided even more runes. As she waved her hands, they formed a terrifying screen of light. Boom! The two of them fought a crazy battle. Terrifying light soared into the sky. Each of Lu Mingyue's slashes was stronger than the last. She was like a demonic god, slashing apart the light screen and descending forcefully. The saintess of all beginnings had a grave expression on her face. Her entire body was surrounded by light. Although she was enveloped by the entire king's domain, she could still feel how terrifying that blade light was. Her opponent's saber light was simply too powerful. It actually shattered her 7 layers of light barriers. The distance between the two of them was very close, only a few meters. If she was hit by Lu Mingyue's saber light, it would definitely not be a joke. She would definitely be seriously injured. Damn it. How could this bitch become so strong? The saintess of all beginnings frowned. She really couldn't understand how Lu Mingyue was even more terrifying than her. This was simply incredible. Buzz! Buzz! However, she would not admit defeat. The next moment, a look of determination appeared in her beautiful eyes. Then, her palms drew a strange movement. The 3 clones behind her suddenly opened their eyes, and light burst out. The runes on their bodies shone even brighter, and their jade-like hands quickly formed strange seals. Then they opened their red lips slightly, and a strange syllable emerged in the void. It was like the sound of nature. It was extremely mysterious, and each syllable carried a terrifying energy. These syllables and runes were all injected into the saintess of all beginnings, making her shine like a goddess. Boom! The next moment, she waved her white palms, constantly slapping them, and rushed into the sky. Beams of bright light drifted in all directions. At this moment, the saintess of all beginnings was indeed extremely powerful. She was like 1,000 hands guanyin, constantly waving the white, jade-like hand of heaven. It blotted out the sky and covered the earth, grabbing forward. Humph! Do you think that your doppelganger divine ability is invincible? Today, I will break your divine power. Facing the terrifying hand of heaven, Lu Mingyue snorted coldly. Her opponent's strength was also beyond her expectations, but she still had another divine power, heaven defying demonic saber. This was an ancient lost technique. It was very powerful and terrifying. However, although this divine power was terrifying, ordinary kings did not dare to use it at all because it was dangerous. This heaven-defying demonic saber was powered by a person's spiritual power and life force in the body to exert its greatest power. Therefore, even if one killed the opponent, most of one's body would be injured. One might even fall seriously ill, and in serious cases die. Therefore, ordinary people did not dare to use it at all. Unexpectedly, in order to defeat the saintess of all beginnings, Lu Mingyue even had to use this forbidden divine power. Hearing that Lu Mingyue was using the heaven-defying demonic saber, the saintess of all beginnings' pupils shrank sharply. She had heard of this divine power. She just did not expect that Lu Mingyue would have such a terrifying divine power. You want to use the heaven-defying demonic saber? You're really overestimating yourself. It seems that you can only stop here. The saintess of all beginnings sneered. She knew that Lu Mingyue's combat strength was only SOSO. Otherwise, she would not risk her life to use the heaven-defying demonic saber. Humph! On the opposite side, Lu Mingyue snorted coldly and did not answer at all. However, a terrifying aura erupted from her body. Wisps of blurry chaos chi began to gather around her. It formed a vague saber shadow that kept spinning. When the first saber shadow emerged, Lu Mingyue's face immediately turned pale. Her life force had been taken away a lot, but her aura was indeed getting stronger and stronger. Secret technique of all beginnings. Seeing this scene, the saintess of all beginnings did not dare to be careless. She quickly urged the 3 clones behind her to shoot out mysterious runes. They condensed into a light shield in front of her. A bronze armor rushed out of her body and wrapped around her body, revealing only a pair of cold eyes. Humph! Let's see if your heaven-defying demonic saber or my secret technique of all beginnings is more powerful. The saintess of all beginnings snorted coldly. On the opposite side, Lu Mingyue suddenly opened her eyes. Strange Tao patterns flickered in her beautiful eyes. They were like demonic patterns emitting terrifying energy. Chapter 1890 / With a shout, Lu Mingyue waved her hand, and the willow leaf saber in her hand slashed down quickly. The terrifying saber radiance flashed like a rainbow, cutting through the void. It slashed down toward the front with great force. The surrounding wind blew violently and thunder and lightning fell. As the saber slashed out, the world lost its color. The terrifying saber radiance was mighty between heaven and earth, and the surging energy surged forward like waves. A huge saber radiance rushed straight into the sky. At this moment, all the warriors in the city changed their expressions and looked back in horror. God, what saber technique is this? It's so terrifying. Could this be the legendary heaven-defying demonic blade? This woman is crazy. How dare she use such a demonic technique? The warriors of the sacred land were horrified. Even Lin Xian, who was fighting with a powerful figure, frowned. He could feel the horror of this saber. It was not weaker than the sword chi that contained the dragon sword soul. This surprised him very much. The dragon sword soul was an offensive saint technique, and few in the world could be compared to it. However, it was really surprising that Lu Mingyue could use a demonic saber on par with it at this moment. Not to mention Lin Xian. Even the powerful figure in blue changed his expression. He naturally knew the power of the devil's saber, but he didn't know if the saintess of all beginnings could resist it. Boom! In front of her, the vast energy slashed toward the saintess of all beginnings. The saintess of all beginnings launched a strong defense, and she would not wait for death. She waved her hand, and a bright light palm rose into the air. Boom! Boom! However, such a terrifying palm was actually devoured after coming into contact with the demonic saber's shadow. Not only that, the demonic saber seemed to be able to absorb the energy of the light palm and became more dazzling and powerful. As expected of a demonic saber, it could swallow the enemy's attack and use it as its own energy to strengthen itself. It was indeed full of demonic power. Damn it! Seeing this scene, the saintess of all beginnings' face turned even uglier. She could neither fight back nor not fight back. She could only move her body and keep dodging. However, the saber shadow was very strange and locked onto the saintess of all beginnings. Boom! The terrifying saber radiance turned into a demonic shadow and slashed in front of the saintess of all beginnings. Pum! The shield of light in front of her flickered and shook violently. As the two collided, waves of vast energy swept through the 9 heavens. The runic light shield only lasted for a moment before it was cut in half. As for the demonic blade, it shone even brighter, completely enveloping the saintess of Wanchu. The pupils of the saintess of all beginnings shrank sharply. She felt the threat of death. Even if she was wearing armor, it would be difficult for her to block this attack. But at this critical moment, the saintess of all beginnings' eyes flashed with determination, and she shouted, "Form shift!" Immediately, her body disappeared and reappeared behind him. Behind her, a chaos avatar appeared where she had been standing. Puff! As soon as the doppelganger appeared, it was split in half by the demonic saber. That frightening demonic figure also rapidly disappeared. Whoosh! Seeing this, the saintess of all beginnings paled, but she breathed a sigh of relief. On the other side, Lu Mingyue's body swayed, and she almost fell over. The burden of this slash was too great for her. She felt the life force in her body drain away quickly. Moreover, There was a touch of surprise in her eyes. She didn't expect the Saintess of all beginnings to block this shocking attack with her doppelganger. Bitch, no matter how powerful your saber technique is, my chaos secret recipe is beyond your imagination. The Saintess of all beginnings sneered. She had used her doppelganger to narrowly avoid the fatal strike. What made him even happier was that after she used the heaven-defying demonic blade, she had suffered a backlash. Her strength would be greatly reduced. Therefore, she decided to kill her at this time. The next moment, the Saintess of all beginnings flashed and charged toward Lu Mingyue with the king's domain. Lu Mingyue's pupils shrank sharply. She did suffer a backlash from the devil saber, and her body was extremely weak. Her combat strength was not as good as before. However, looking at the Saintess of all beginnings, a touch of determination appeared in her eyes. The next moment, she raised her jade-like arm again, and black runes flashed in her eyes again. Devil's Saber. Facing the terrifying Saintess of all beginnings, Lu Mingyue displayed the Devil's Saber again. Seeing the demonic saber appear again, the Saintess of all beginnings screamed, and the complacency on her face disappeared. It was replaced by a touch of horror. She quickly retreated, not daring to approach Lu Mingyue at all. The saber slashed down and the world collapsed. This time, the Saintess of all beginnings had no choice but to use another doppelganger to block this shocking saber. Although her life was not in danger, her strength was much weaker than before. Because these doppelganger were killed, it also had a big impact on her. Damn bitch, you actually destroyed 2 of my doppelganger. Today, I must catch you and let you know the taste of living a life worse than death. The Saintess of all beginnings gnashed her teeth in anger, and she once again attacked Lu Mingyue. Lu Mingyue's face became even paler. Using 2 devil sabers in a row consumed a lot of her strength. Moreover, her vitality had been reduced by more than half. Now, she was no different from being seriously injured. However, a strange light flashed in her eyes. The next moment, Lu Mingyue raised her arm again without hesitation and displayed the devil's saber. It was not that she was not afraid of death, but that she still had a trump card in her hand. Lin Xian had 3 drops of 10,000-year-old spiritual liquid in his hand, which he had given to her and the Crimson Dragon before the battle. In other words, each of them had a drop of 10,000-year-old spiritual liquid. This was a good thing. As long as one was not dead and still had a breath of life, one could immediately recover after taking it. This was also the reason why Lu Mingyue dared to use the devil's saber. The Saintess of all beginnings did not know that when she saw Lu Mingyue use the devil's saber for the 3rd time, her whole face turned green. She really did not understand where Lu Mingyue got the courage to use this kind of thing. She still knew about this kind of demonic saber. Even the Saintess could only use it 2 or 3 times at most. She was afraid that she could not stand it anymore. Perhaps she would be swallowed by the demonic saber before killing the enemy. Even if she used it once, the side effects were very serious. She was afraid that she would not be able to recover at all without a year and a half. She did not expect that Lu Mingyue would be so crazy to use the devil's saber 3 times in a row. Was she not afraid of death? This time, the Saintess of all beginnings consumed her last doppelganger in order to save her life. Then her whole face turned gloomy. Her secret method of all beginnings was broken, and her 3 doppelganger were completely killed, causing her power to decline. She even suffered a certain backlash. This was a magical power that she had cultivated for a long time, but now it was completely broken. It would take a long time for her to recover. For talents like them, time was life. 1 step late, and they might fall behind others for a lifetime. Therefore, the Saintess of all beginnings gritted her teeth and was mad with anger. Chapter 1891. However, when she saw Lu Mingyue's condition, she still smiled. Lu Mingyue's condition was worse than hers. Her face was extremely pale, and her body was shaking as if she would fall down with a gust of wind. "Ha ha ha!" the saintess of all beginnings sneered. "You bitch, you actually destroyed 3 of my doppelgangers. This time I must teach you a lesson." The saintess of all beginnings was like a demon, stepping on lotuses and walking forward step by step. With every step she took, her murderous aura became more intense. She didn't rush to attack because she knew that Lu Mingyue couldn't escape. She was afraid that Lu Mingyue didn't have much vitality in her body. "Aren't you very powerful? You're using the devil blade. Let's see if you can kill me. Or will you be swallowed by the blade first?" The saintess of all beginnings wasn't worried at all because she knew that Lu Mingyue couldn't use the devil blade anymore. "Bitch, you dare to destroy my divine sense. I'll create 1,800 knife marks on your face and turn you into an ugly monster. Then I'll strip you naked and throw you into a group of monsters. I'll let you taste the feeling of living a life worse than death." The others were relieved and even cheered, because they knew that Lu Mingyue couldn't launch another attack in her current state. However, the Crimson Dragon and Lin Xian were very calm. They went all out to deal with the powerful figure and didn't get distracted at all, because they knew that Lu Mingyue couldn't be defeated like this. Sure enough, Lu Mingyue looked at the saintess of all beginnings in front of her with a sad smile. "Do you think you've won?" "What a joke, of course I won." The saintess of all beginnings sneered. "What? Do you think you can make a comeback in your current state? I advise you to stop dreaming. Although you made me suffer some injuries, your injuries are more serious. Don't tell me you think you can still use the heaven-defying devil blade in your current state? I'm afraid that the moment you use your divine sense, all your vitality will be swallowed by the blade. Of course, this is a good way to commit suicide, but I won't let you do it." However, Lu Mingyue laughed. "Zheng Xiu, you're very arrogant. This is your fatal flaw." "So what? I'm the saintess of all beginnings. I can't be defeated, not to mention being killed. I'm destined to be the future master of the saintess of all beginnings. As for you, no one will remember you. Be asterisk TCH, it's all over now." The saintess of all beginnings raised her arm, and streaks of fierce, chaotic light appeared in her palm. "You are indeed too arrogant. Someone like you doesn't deserve to be a saintess," Lu Mingyue said coldly. In the next moment, she flipped her palm and took out a jade bottle. Then, she flicked out a drop of 10,000-year spirit liquid and quickly swallowed it. Whoa! Her speed was very fast, so she didn't receive any obstructions. Moreover, the saintess of all beginnings didn't expect Lu Mingyue to have any chance to turn the tables. In the view of the saintess of all beginnings, it was impossible for him to recover in a short period of time since he had suffered such a serious injury and lost so much of his vitality. Therefore, she did not stop him. However, she soon regretted it. This was because the paleness on Lu Mingyue's face was gradually disappearing and was replaced by a normal flush. Not only that, but her vitality was also rapidly recovering, and the majestic energy in her body surged out once again. What? How is this possible? The saintess of all beginnings' pupils shrank in shock. She couldn't believe it. What kind of treasure did Lu Mingyue take to have such a heaven-defying effect? She was too shocked. In her knowledge, such a treasure did exist, but it was very difficult to obtain. There were no powerful figures, let alone Lu Mingyue, in front of her. However, Lu Mingyue really had such a heaven-defying treasure in her hands that could instantly restore her vitality. Therefore, the saintess of all beginnings was stunned. In the next moment, she turned around, turned into a ray of light, and fled into the distance. Now, she didn't dare to fight with Lu Mingyue because she didn't have any magical power that could resist the devil blade. Want to run? Lu Mingyue sneered. Now that she had recovered her vitality, she could use the devil blade again. Therefore, she had to kill Lu Mingyue. In a flash, Lu Mingyue quickly chased after Lu Mingyue. What? She recovered. She actually recovered. How could she recover? The surrounding disciples who were fighting against the true formation felt their scalps go numb when they saw the scene. They didn't expect this. There was such a reversal in the situation. They were all top female cultivators, but they were being chased by Lu Mingyue. The two powerful figures were also very surprised. They were even dumbfounded. Damn it, what did that woman have in her hands? What exactly did she swallow? How could she recover completely in an instant? The two powerful figures' faces were also very gloomy. Boy, you are indeed beyond my expectations, but do you think you can succeed like this? You are too naive. The Saintess is not so easy to kill. The powerful figure in blue looked at Lin Xian and snorted coldly. He didn't save the Saintess of all beginnings. Instead, he stared at Lin Xian. Because he was really angry, he must kill Lu Mingyue to relieve the hatred in his heart. Feeling the killing intent of the powerful figure, Lin Xian didn't care. He was now strong enough to compete with the powerful figure. At least the other party couldn't kill him. He sneered and said, "Isn't it just a protector? We also have a way to deal with it." What? This time, the powerful figure in blue was really confused. Lu Mingyue actually knew about the existence of the protector and had such a calm expression. Could it be that Lu Mingyue really had some tricks that she hadn't used yet? Thinking of this, the powerful figure in blue was not confident. He found that everything this time was beyond his expectations. He hadn't felt this kind of feeling of being out of control for hundreds of years. No, I have to make a move. The powerful figure in blue was uneasy and decided to make a move. The next moment, his figure swayed and he wanted to soar into the sky, but Lin Xian turned into a sword light and blocked his way. I told you, your opponent is me. Moreover, let the women solve the problems between them. Lin Xian's sword crossed the sky like a sword immortal and blocked his way. You are courting death. Boy, get out of my way. The powerful figure in blue was angry and quickly blasted out his palms. Lin Xian slashed out sword chi and didn't resist at all. He was like a ghost, constantly dodging, but he always interfered with the powerful figure in blue so that he couldn't completely leave. On the other side, the powerful figure in red was also blocked by the great magic of the Crimson Dragon. For a while, the two powerful figures couldn't be separated at all. In the sky, the Saintess of all beginnings was being chased to the point where she had nowhere to go. Her hair was disheveled and her expression was abnormally flustered. She never thought that she would be hunted down one day. Damn bitch, just you wait. The next time I see you, I will definitely kill you. Chapter 1892. Damn bitch, just you wait. The next time I see you, I will kill you. Lu Mingyue snorted. Next time? You have no chance. This is your end. Finally, she seized an opportunity and slashed with the demonic saber again. The terrifying saber light flashed and completely enveloped the Saintess of all beginnings. Feeling this terrifying aura, the Saintess of all beginnings turned pale. She gritted her teeth and launched all kinds of attacks. But under the heaven-defying demonic saber, nothing worked. At this moment, the Saintess of all beginnings felt desperate. No, I'm the Saintess. I won't be defeated. The Saintess of all beginnings screamed and threw out another chaotic light ball, which suddenly exploded. The terrifying energy directly blew up a big black hole in the void, but it still couldn't affect the heaven-defying demonic saber. This heaven-defying demonic saber was created at the cost of one's life, so it was extremely terrifying. The Saintess of all beginnings couldn't resist it unless she had this powerful magical power that burned her life. Unfortunately, she hadn't cultivated this magical power. No, seeing that the Saintess of all beginnings was about to be killed, everyone screamed. However, the next moment, A vague figure appeared beside the saintess of all beginnings and then waved his sleeve. Suddenly, the terrifying heaven-defying demonic saber was shattered. The terrifying energy soared into the sky, and the whole sky was completely covered by the black demonic shadow, which turned into endless darkness and rolled away. But this saber was finally broken. The huge demonic shadow between heaven and earth was shattered, and the terrifying saber light tore in all directions. But a vacuum area was formed in front of the saintess of all beginnings. All the saber light went around there. At this moment, all the warriors inside and outside the city were stunned. They looked at the scene in the sky in shock. Lu Mingyue also stared at the figure in front of her and said coldly, "Protector!" Yes, it's a protector. At the last moment of life and death, the protector of the saintess of all beginnings finally made a move. He shattered the demonic saber and saved the saintess of all beginnings. The saintess of all beginnings' face was extremely pale, and her expression was extremely ugly. Although her life wasn't in danger, the fact that the protector made a move undoubtedly proved that she had failed, because the protector would only make a move at the critical moment of life and death. In other words, she had lost this battle. Moreover, she had lost completely. If it weren't for her protector, she might have been killed. She couldn't believe it. After all, she was the saintess. Furthermore, his strength had increased tremendously, and he had many secret techniques at his disposal. But even so, he couldn't beat someone who had been abandoned by the Holy Land. The surrounding people were also extremely shocked. Those martial artists all worshipped the saintess of 10,000 emergence as a god. But now, the faith in their hearts had been defeated. Furthermore, it had been defeated so thoroughly, they couldn't accept it at all. The blue-robed mighty figure battling Lin Xian and the red-robed mighty figure in the distance also had ugly expressions. Originally, they thought that this battle would be very easy and that they would be able to easily crush the other party. But he didn't expect things to turn out this way. Not only were the two of them restrained, but even the saintess of all beginnings was defeated. In the end, the protector was forced to intervene. To them, this was simply a humiliation. The saintess of all beginnings stared at Lu Mingyue coldly. "Damn bitch, just you wait. Next time, I'll kill you with my own hands. Next time, you won't have a chance. This time, I will definitely kill you." Lu Mingyue pointed her long saber forward. "You want to kill me? How ridiculous. I have a protector. Even a mighty figure can't kill me. I admit that I was careless this time and lost to you. But don't be arrogant. I can only say that you're dreaming if you want to kill me." "Really?" At this moment, Lin Xian also sneered. "You think too highly of yourself. Do you really think that having a protector can protect your safety? Today, I'm going against heaven's will and kill you." Lin Xian was extremely strong at this moment. "I won't attack you, but if you act recklessly and insist on attacking the saintess, then don't blame me for being rude." The protector shouted in a deep voice. Indeed, his duty was to protect the saintess, and he wouldn't take the initiative to attack others. But if the other party attacked recklessly after he came out, then he could only attack and destroy all the enemies. The surrounding martial artists from the Holy Land also sneered disdainfully. Indeed, although it was hard for them to accept the saintess' defeat, it was impossible for them to kill the saintess. With the protector around, no one could kill the saintess. "No one can kill her? I can only say that you're too ignorant." Lin Xian sneered and then looked at the Crimson Dragon. "You can attack now. All right, Ben Huang can't wait any longer." The Crimson Dragon roared and swung its dragon tail, colliding with the mighty figure in red. Then, both of them retreated 1,000 meters. The Crimson Dragon came to Lin Xian's side. The mighty figure in red looked extremely gloomy. After fighting for so long, he still couldn't take down the other party. This made him feel ashamed. But soon, his expression changed again. This was because he felt a strange force enveloping him. His companion the mighty figure in blue was also extremely shocked. Even the protector in the distance frowned. Damn it, this is the power of space. He wants to teleport us away. The mighty figure in blue roared with a shocked face. Now, he finally knew why the other party was so calm when he learned of the protector's existence. It turned out that the other party had already prepared for this. Such an array would teleport them far away. They probably wouldn't be able to fly back in a short time. Therefore, if they were really teleported away, the Saintess of all beginnings would definitely be finished. Damn it, open for me. The mighty figure in blue roared and waved his fists. Terrifying energy pierced through the sky, trying to break the power of space. On the other side, the mighty figure in red also struck out rows of terrifying palm shadows, trying to break through. However, they still underestimated this array. This array was specially designed to deal with mighty figures. Therefore, even if the two mighty figures were angry at this moment, it would be of no help at all. Soon, their bodies became blurry. Whoosh! They were teleported away. What? They disappeared. Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists felt their scalps tingle. They couldn't sense the aura of the mighty figures at all. No, damn it. How could this be? They teleported the mighty figures away. The martial artists from the sacred grounds were finally scared. Although there was a terrifying array around them before, they could barely hold on. And they had hope in their hearts, because with the mighty figures, they could definitely live in peace. But now, they had no guarantee in their hearts, because the mighty figures had been teleported away, and they didn't know where they were teleported to. But they definitely wouldn't be able to come back in a short time. Without the mighty figures to rely on, could these people block the attacks of Lin Xian and the others? Chapter 1893. We haven't lost yet. We still have a protector. Right at this moment, an old man roared furiously. Yes, we still have hope. At this moment, all the sacred land cultivators looked at the protector. Even the saint of all beginnings was nervous. She didn't expect the other party to hide such a powerful formation and teleport the two powerhouses away. Now, the protector was her only hope. The protector's expression was cold. This scene was also beyond his expectations. But in the next moment, a sharp light burst out from his eyes. Boy, I wouldn't have gotten involved in such a thing, but you've gone too far. Do you really think there's no one in the holy land of all beginnings? At this moment, the protector emitted a terrifying aura. The energy fluctuation was even more terrifying than the previous two powerhouses. Seeing this, the saint of all beginnings finally smiled. She knew the protector was angry. Originally, the protector's mission was to protect her safety. But now, the other party had teleported away two powerhouses, directly threatening the safety of her and nearly 100 sacred land cultivators. The protector wouldn't ignore such a situation. Humph. So what if you're a protector? You better leave obediently as well. Lin Xian snorted and activated the formation again. Suddenly, a terrifying spatial power rushed toward the protector. The protector roared, and the aura in his body erupted, sweeping out like a wave. A king's domain appeared, enveloping him and resisting the spatial power. Damn it, this protector is a bit powerful. He's not an ordinary powerhouse. The crimson dragon frowned. He was very confident in his formation. Previously, teleporting the two powerhouses in red only took an instant. But now, the other party was able to resist the spatial power. This was indeed beyond his expectations. What should we do? Lu Mingyue also showed a trace of anxiety. Originally, everything was going according to plan, but they didn't expect the protector's strength to be beyond their expectations. When the surrounding sacred land cultivators saw that the protector wasn't teleported away, they immediately cheered. The saint of all beginnings sneered, "Boy, bitch, let's see how you deal with it this time." She was too happy. Originally, they were bound to lose, but because of the protector's help, they had completely reversed the situation. She could imagine that the other party wouldn't be able to resist at all. The Saint of All Beginnings swore that she would capture Lu Mingyue and the other two and torture them to death. On the opposite side, Lin Xian looked at the protector in the sky with a solemn expression. In the next moment, streaks of golden runes appeared in his pupils. They were like runes of the Tao and were extremely mysterious. Tianji Divine Eyes. At the most critical moment, Lin Xian used his powerful trump card. Suddenly, a terrifying illusion swept toward the protector. The protector didn't have time to defend. He saw a golden Isasin the next moment. However, he was not an ordinary mighty figure. He was very powerful. Therefore, his soul power was relatively strong. His teat. However, Lin Xian had no intention of using illusions to deal with the guardian. All he wanted to do was to distract the guardian for a moment. Just a moment. Sure enough, the protector was hit by the illusion. The energy in his body seemed to have stopped circulating. In the next moment, the terrifying power of space wrapped around him. Ka. The void cracked and teleported the protector away. Everyone went crazy when they saw this. They didn't expect that even the powerful protector would be teleported away. The Saint of All Beginnings' face was pale, and her eyes lost their luster. The protector was her last support, but now he was gone. With her strength, she couldn't compete with Lin Xian and the other two. In the sky, the protector's body was shrouded in darkness. In the end, he let out an angry roar. Damn it! How dare you hurt the people of the All Beginnings Holy Land? I won't let you go. In the end, the protector completely disappeared in the sky. He had been teleported away. The sky was dead silent. All the cultivators of the Holy Land were stunned. Without the protector, they couldn't predict what would happen next. The Saint of All Beginnings felt Lin Xian and the other two's gazes. Her body trembled. Her face was pale, but she still clenched her teeth and said, "You can't kill me. I am the Saint of All Beginnings. If you kill me, the All Beginnings Holy Land won't let you go. How about this? Let's forget about today's matter. If you let me go, I won't cause trouble for you in the future. How about we both take a step back? Take a step back." Lin Xian sneered. "Why should we? This situation is very advantageous to us." Hearing this, the Saint of All Beginnings' face darkened. Her eyes were cold. However, she still clenched her teeth and said, "Do you really want to be hunted down by the All Beginnings Holy Land forever? Think about it carefully. Today's matter was only because you wanted to vent the resentment in your heart. You've already seriously injured me, teleported away 3 Almighties and killed many of my disciples. You can say that you've already vented your anger. Moreover, not only have you vented your anger, but you've also become famous in the Eastern Wasteland. This way, you'll get what you want. Why not? Why infuriate the entire All Beginnings Holy Land just to kill me? Why suffer endless pursuit? You're all smart people. You should know what's worth it," said the Saint of All Beginnings. "I didn't expect you to be so eloquent. Unfortunately, your words can't move me." Lin Xian sneered. "We don't want to go against the All Beginnings Holy Land, nor do we want to kill the Saint of All Beginnings. We want to kill you. Moreover, you're too naive. Even if you die, it doesn't mean that the Saint of All Beginnings is no more. We're only helping the All Beginnings Holy Land choose the right Saint of All Beginnings. I believe that the All Beginnings Holy Land won't kill me. Instead, they'll be grateful to me." After saying this, Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. Lu Mingyue and the Crimson Dragon also emitted powerful auras. "No, you can't do this." The Saint of All Beginnings was truly afraid. She now understood that these people wanted to help Lu Mingyue regain the position of Saint of All Beginnings. "Protector, you've returned. That's great." At this moment, The saint of all beginnings looked behind Lin Xian with joy. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others raised their eyebrows. In the next moment, the three of them looked back. In the end, they discovered that there was no one behind them. The saint of all beginnings in front of them took advantage of this opportunity to erupt with resplendent light. She turned into a shooting star and fled into the distance. She had no choice but to run because she couldn't defeat Lin Xian and the others. Chapter 1894. Now, she could only escape and leave this place. She would decide what to do after returning to the Holy Land. You want to leave? Lin Xian sneered. A sword light slashed out, filling the sky with sword energy. It formed a huge cage that sealed off the surroundings. Then Lin Xian said to Lu Mingyue, "I'll leave her to you. Ruse along, and I will deal with the remaining people." Lu Mingyue nodded her head heavily. Then she held her long saber in her hand and flew forward in a lotus step. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon erupted with powerful auras, preparing to attack the remaining Holy Land cultivators. The all-beginning saintess screamed in front of them, crazily resisting. However, she was seriously injured and wasn't Lu Mingyue's match. Before long, blood dyed the sky red. She was killed. Saintess! The Holy Land cultivators in the distance roared when they saw this scene. They didn't expect that the dignified, all-beginning saintess would be killed instead. But soon, they didn't have time to be sad because they found a terrifying attack. Boom! Boom! Terrifying energy filled the sky. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were both powerful figures at the saint-child level. The two of them joined forces and coordinated with the array that filled the sky. They formed a formation and quickly killed all the remaining Holy Land cultivators. Blood dyed the ground red, and the pungent smell of blood filled the air. The entire northern Liang city was covered in blood and corpses. This scene was like a Jura hell. The Crimson Dragon was responsible for taking everyone's storage rings, including the all-beginning saintess. Lu Mingyue's clothes were also stained with blood, but she didn't care. Lin Xian, thank you very much. After I become the saintess, I will definitely repay you. Lu Mingyue's eyes shone. This was a turning point in her life. Only by killing Zheng Xiu would she be able to return to the all-beginning Holy Land and become the new saintess. Lin Xian nodded. Lu Mingyue's attitude was good. After she became the saintess, he would definitely obtain great benefits. This way, he wouldn't have wasted so much effort to kill the all-beginning saintess. Let's go. I'm afraid the entire eastern wasteland will be shaken. We have to deal with the upcoming pursuit. Lin Xian looked around and said coldly. Then he, Lu Mingyue, and the Crimson Dragon soared into the sky and disappeared. The people outside the city had been waiting anxiously. They were unable to fully investigate the situation within the city, but they soon smelled the scent of blood. What's going on? Why is the smell of blood so strong? Quite a few people's brows were tightly furrowed. However, there were even some whose faces were pale. They pointed forward, their bodies trembling. Look, blood, there's blood flowing out. In the next moment, the surrounding warriors all looked forward. On the ground, streams of blood flowed like a sea of blood, rapidly spreading in all directions. This was no ordinary blood. There was a strange luster flowing within it. It was clear that this was the blood of a king, and it contained a powerful energy. This was definitely not a scene that could be caused by the death of one or two kings. At least a few dozen kings had died. Heavens, what kind of battle is going on inside? This is too intense. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. But at this time, someone cried out in alarm. Look, the light is dimming. I think the formation is about to dissipate. Wait a little longer. Everyone waited patiently. When all the light dimmed, they soared into the sky and flew into the city. In the next moment, when they arrived in the city and saw the scene around them, they were all stunned. Everyone's eyes were filled with alarm. There was blood everywhere, and not a single person was alive. What? How is this possible? The people of the All Beginnings Holy Land were all killed. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They discovered that the clothes of the corpses on the ground belonged to the All Beginnings Holy Land. This meant that these people were all martial artists of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Apart from that, there were no other corpses. Who is it? How could their methods be so terrifying? They killed all the people of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Heavens, what is that? Suddenly, someone screamed, startling everyone in the surroundings. However, that person didn't seem to sense anything. Instead, he pointed forward, his voice trembling. The All Beginnings Holy Daughter, she was also killed. What? You said the All Beginnings Holy Daughter was also killed? That's impossible. The others were shocked and didn't dare to believe it. In the next moment, they turned their heads and looked forward. They discovered that the corpse belonged to the All Beginnings Holy Daughter. It's over. The entire Eastern Wasteland will probably undergo a great change. Everyone's hearts trembled. The All Beginnings Holy Daughter's death was definitely a shocking matter. The All Beginnings Holy Land would definitely go crazy. Who was it that had such heaven-defying methods? Even the All Beginnings Holy Daughter was killed. That's impossible. The All Beginnings Holy Daughter had two powerful experts by her side. How could she be killed? Someone asked. Immediately, everyone looked around, but they didn't find the two bodies. The two powerful experts didn't die. Perhaps they went to chase after the murderer. No, that shouldn't be the case. At this time, a Gu family disciple said, "As far as I know, the All Beginnings Holy Daughter had two powerful experts by her side and a guardian. That's still a powerful expert. Moreover, he's an extremely powerful one. With him, ordinary powerful experts wouldn't be able to kill the All Beginnings Holy Daughter." Who is it that could avoid the guardian and kill the All Beginnings Holy Daughter? Shocked voices sounded one after another. Clearly, the All Beginnings Holy Daughter's death had caused a great commotion. They knew that the entire Eastern Wasteland would probably go crazy. Sure enough, when the news of northern Liang City spread, the entire northern region was in an uproar. At this moment, whether it was the Gu family, the Four Symbols Holy Land, the Liang family, or other top factions, they were all shocked. The All Beginnings Holy Daughter was one of the top existences of the younger generation. Moreover, she had come aggressively this time. She had brought 100 Holy Land experts, two powerful experts, and a guardian to secretly protect her. It could be said that she was extremely powerful. Even if the other party was a holy son of another holy land, he might not be able to kill the All Beginnings Holy Daughter. But now the All Beginnings Holy Daughter was still killed. What was even stranger was that there were no other corpses at the scene except for the All Beginnings Holy Land's cultivators. This was even more shocking. What kind of existence had made a move? Soon, the news spread from the northern region to the entire Eastern Wasteland. The factions that passed by were all shocked and couldn't believe it. In the end, the entire Eastern Wasteland was shaken. After the All Beginnings Holy Land received the news, they were even more furious, angry. This time the All Beginnings Holy Land was truly angry. The matter of the All Beginnings Holy Daughter's undergarment had already made them lose face. Therefore, they hadn't stopped the All Beginnings Holy Daughter from bringing experts to the northern region. They also wanted the All Beginnings Holy Daughter to intimidate the enemy, but they hadn't expected such a thing to happen. Chapter 1895. Their Holy Daughter had brought 100 experts, 2 Almighties, and a guardian with her. But in the end, she had still been killed. Apart from the 3 Almighties, the 100 experts of the Holy Land had all been killed. Not a single person had managed to escape. The All Beginnings Holy Land had truly lost face. The death of their Holy Daughter was definitely a major event today. Even the Holy Master of All Beginnings had come out of seclusion to oversee the All Beginnings Holy Land. Orders were issued one after another. The entire All Beginnings Holy Land was incomparably furious. They quickly moved and arrived in the northern region. They wanted to find the culprit. This time the All Beginnings Holy Land had only dispatched their elites. Even the weakest among them was a 6-star king. Among them, there were quite a few almighties and elders. All of them were dispatched. For a time, the entire world was in an uproar. Everyone's attention was focused on the northern region. The entire northern region was in a state of turmoil. Everyone was in danger. For a time, everyone fell silent. Many cultivators returned to their respective factions, not daring to come out again. This was because the experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land were constantly patrolling the area. They would directly arrest anyone they found suspicious. From the looks of it, these people would not be willing to leave the matter at that unless the culprit was brought out. On the other side, Lin Xian, Lu Mingyue, and the Crimson Dragon had arrived in the mountains. They found a safe place and entered seclusion to recover. This time, the 3 of them had all been injured. Lu Mingyue's injuries were the most serious. She had consumed more than half of her life force. Although she had the 10,000-year spiritual liquid, she still needed to completely recover. Otherwise, it would be terrible if there were side effects. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon had also been seriously injured in the battle against the Almighties. They had consumed the 10,000-year spiritual liquid once. Therefore, after consuming the 10,000-year spiritual liquid, their injuries had more or less healed. But now they had all entered seclusion to recover their bodies to their peak. After all, there were still many things that they needed to do. 3 days later, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon opened their eyes. As for Lu Mingyue, she was still in seclusion. After all, the life force she had consumed couldn't be recovered that easily. Moreover, the side effects of the heaven-defying demon blade were also very frightening. Therefore, Lin Xian had Lu Mingyue enter seclusion without disturbing her. He and the Crimson Dragon took out a bunch of storage rings. 2 of these storage rings belonged to the Saint of All Beginnings, and the others belonged to the martial artists from the Holy Land. At this moment, they probed it with their souls and found that there were many things inside. It was enough to make up for the materials they had used to inscribe the formation, especially the 2 storage rings of the Saintess of All Beginnings, which were full of treasures. There were even some places where Lin Xian felt extremely hot. It seemed that this was a really bountiful harvest. It was a sure win. It was indeed a great harvest. This time they had only expended some energy and suffered some injuries. He consumed 3 drops of 10,000 years spiritual liquid. However, the consequences of taking too much were indeed very shocking. In addition to these, the natural treasures they had consumed could almost be made up for. Moreover, when Lu Mingyue truly became the new saintess, they would obtain even more things. There's actually the All Beginnings secret technique here. Lin Xian found some good things in the Saintess of All Beginnings storage ring. The Saintess of All Beginnings had a very high status in the All Beginnings Holy Land. She was equivalent to the future master of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Therefore, she had some of the All Beginnings Holy Land's secret techniques in her hands. One of them was the Primal Chaos Doppelganger. This Primal Chaos Doppelganger was incomparably terrifying. It was even more frightening than the 6-sword god doppelganger formed by Lin Xian's 6-god sword art. Moreover, these doppelganger could pass off as the real thing and had powerful fighting strength. Therefore, Lin Xian was very tempted by this cultivation technique. He didn't hesitate and entered a secret room inside the Black Earth, beginning to comprehend the Primal Chaos Doppelganger. It just so happened that it was very dangerous outside. The experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land were everywhere, frantically searching for him. Therefore, Lin Xian simply stayed here and cultivated the primal chaos doppelganger. This primal chaos doppelganger was somewhat similar to his six-god sword art. It could even be considered an advanced version of the six-god sword art. Therefore, Lin Xian was very good at cultivating it. Soon, he condensed a doppelganger. After testing it out, Lin Xian discovered that its might was actually at the level of a holy sage substitute. This doppelganger's advantage over the six-god sword art was that it could leave Lin Xian's side for a long time until it was killed. When Lin Xian condensed the second doppelganger, he prepared for the next step. The All Beginnings Holy Land was infuriated by the death of their holy daughter. However, even though they were angry, they still had to promote a new holy daughter. Lu Mingyue had a chance, but the other geniuses of the All Beginnings Holy Land also had a chance. Moreover, Lu Mingyue had a disadvantage right now, and that was her bad reputation. This was also the reason why she had been replaced by Zheng Xiao. If she didn't get rid of this bad reputation, the position of holy daughter wouldn't be given to Lu Mingyue. Therefore, Lin Xian's second step was to clear Lu Mingyue's name. Of course, if he said it himself, no one would believe him. However, when he was in the oblique moon mystic world, the disciples of the various top powers of the Eastern Wasteland had gone there. If the disciples of those powers had issued a statement together, saying that Lu Mingyue had been captured and treated as a maid, it would have been purely a false accusation. This was something that had never happened before. In this way, Lu Mingyue's bad reputation would be removed. Of course, the disciples of the major factions wouldn't make such statements obediently. Therefore, Lin Xian planned to use force to solve the problem. Let's start with the Northern Territory. The four symbols, sacred grounds, and the Gu clan had both participated in the slanting moon profound grade. The Gu family was easy to deal with. Lin Xian and Gu Santong were on very good terms, so it wouldn't be a problem for Gu Santong to make a statement. As for the four symbols' holy grounds, they had to be dealt with. Lin Xian didn't like trouble. His methods were simple and crude. He would directly attack until the other party admitted defeat. This time, they were dealing with the four symbols' holy land martial artists. There was no need for him to personally take action. Therefore, he sent out a clone while his true body cultivated in the black earth, preparing to condense more clones. Whoosh! Lin Xian's clone boarded the black earth and soared into the sky. He first inquired about the four symbols' sacred grounds, asking who had been to the oblique moon profound world. Then he prepared to make his move, Deadwood City. There were a few young prodigies of the four symbols' sacred grounds there, all of whom had participated in the oblique moon profound world. Lin Xian's clone was very fast and arrived at Deadwood City in a short while. In the city, there was a palace that looked magnificent. It was Lin Xian's clone's target this time. Therefore, he rushed down like a shooting star. Whoosh! Lin Xian's clone streaked across the sky like lightning and arrived above the palace. In the palace below, in a large hall, a few young men were enjoying the song and dance while hugging beauties in their arms. Among them, there was a red-haired young man with a strong build. He was like a demon king, full of power. Chapter 1896. Senior Brother Wan, let me give you a toast. I wish you a speedy exit from seclusion and a great increase in strength. A young disciple raised his wine cup. The red-haired youth with the surname Wan smiled. Well said, well said. I was really lucky this time to have a breakthrough. Senior Brother Wan, your current strength is already at the level of a successor candidate, right? Another youth asked with a smile. That's right. The breakthrough this time has indeed allowed me to reach the level of a successor candidate. Wan Lishan's lips curled into a smile. It was obvious that reaching the level of a successor candidate made him very excited. He continued, this time it's all thanks to the treasures from the oblique moon world. Without them, I probably wouldn't have been able to break through within 10 years. That's right. Although this oblique moon mysterious world is extremely dangerous, there are simply too many treasures inside. Any one of them is worth a few years or even a dozen years of hard work. That's natural. It's just that the oblique moon world won't open again for the next 100 years. It's a pity. Boom! At this moment, above the palace, Lin Xian's clone flicked his finger. A ray of sword chi flashed and flew into the palace below. Boom! Wan Lishan and the others were talking and even wanted to fight for the position of a successor candidate. However, at this moment, a ray of sword light broke through the top of the palace and pierced towards them. Boom! Wan Lishan's face darkened when he saw this. He raised his hand and released a terrifying energy that shattered the ray of sword light. "Who is it? How dare you sneak attack us?" Wan Lishan shouted coldly. Then his figure rose from the ground. Soon, the palace below flashed with light. Then a figure rushed into the sky with a powerful aura. He was like a demon god rushing into the sky. In an instant, he was near Lin Xian's clone. "Who are you? How dare you sneak attack us? Don't you know that this is the territory of the Four Symbols Sanctuary?" Behind Wan Lishan, two more figures rushed into the sky. They were also martial artists from the Four Symbols Sanctuary. "Kid, sneak attack us? You've got guts. Quickly cripple your own arms and kneel down to beg for mercy. Otherwise, you'll suffer a fate worse than death." The few of them shouted coldly. In front of them, Lin Xian's clone narrowed his eyes. Soon, he fixed his eyes on Wan Lishan. This was because he could sense that the other party's strength was the strongest, reaching the level of a saint candidate. Only such a person would make such an announcement, and people would believe it. Therefore, at the next moment, he looked at Wan Lishan and sneered, "Come out and fight me if you have the guts." With that said, Lin Xian's clone flashed and flew off into the distance. "You're courting death." The Four Symbols Sacred Ground disciple was enraged when he saw this. The other party actually dared to provoke them. He was truly courting death. "Senior Brother Wan, let me go. I can definitely cripple him easily." However, Wan Lishan shook his head. "No need. You too can leave. I'll go take a look. It just so happens that I just came out of seclusion. Let me stretch my muscles a little." "All right, then be careful, Senior Brother Wan," said the two disciples. To be honest, they were not worried at all. After all, Wan Lishan now had the combat strength of a Holy Sun candidate. He was definitely incomparably powerful. Ordinary people would not be able to do anything. Even if there was a trap, Senior Brother Wan would still be able to escape easily. In the next moment, Wan Lishan sneered. Then his figure flashed, and he chased after them. After leaving the city, Lin Xian's clone found a deserted mountain range and stopped. He was like a sword immortal floating in the void. Behind him, Wan Lishan followed closely. He was extremely arrogant and was not afraid of any traps. When he saw the figure in front of him stop, he also stopped in his tracks. Then he used his soul to check the surroundings, but did not discover any danger. "Kid, ask your people to come out. I want to see who dares to harm me." Wan Lishan snorted coldly. However, Lin Xian's clone shook his head coldly. "There's no one else. It's just me. Just you." Wan Lishan was stunned. He originally thought that the other party would lure him out with a trap. However, he did not expect the other party to be alone. This was really beyond his expectations. "You want to fight me by yourself? You're really courting death. I'm enough." Lin Xian's voice was cold. He was Lin Xian's clone, and his strength had reached the level of a Holy Sun candidate. Moreover, his body contained a sharp sword chi, which made his combat strength even more terrifying. Therefore, the clone did not waste any time and immediately attacked. Boom! With a wave of his arm, a terrifying sword chi that contained a sharp killing aura slashed forward. Although it was just a clone, the sword was extremely terrifying. An ordinary king would not dare to resist it. Wan Lishan was stunned when he saw that the other party could unleash such a powerful sword chi. However, a sinister smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. No wonder you dare to fight me. You do have some strength. Unfortunately, I've just made a breakthrough recently and my strength has increased greatly. It's not something you can imagine. Therefore, your attack has no effect on me. Boom! With that, Wan Lishan threw out a punch. The terrifying punch whistled and formed an immemorial demonic elephant that was shining brightly. It tore through the void and charged forward. The force was extremely powerful. It was as if it could destroy everything in the world. Boom! 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 The terrifying sword chi collided with the immemorial demonic elephant. Then a large amount of energy exploded. The entire void rolled violently as if it was boiling. The surrounding mountains were instantly destroyed. A large number of trees were swept up into the sky. Terrifying cracks appeared on the ground. In the sky, Lin Xian's clone and Wan Lishan were also flying backward. However, Lin Xian's clone soon stopped retreating. He waved his hand and took out a long sword that emitted a cold light. This long sword was not the 9 darkness demonic sword, but it was also an earth-grade treasure. Now that it was held by Lin Xian's clone, its power was even more terrifying. Buzz! With a swing of the sword chi scattered across the void like the Milky Way and slashed forward. The bright light was like the waves of the sea, but also like the Milky Way. It was huge and bright, carrying a sharp aura. It was as if the whole world was going to be cut in half. Wan Lishan's pupils shrank. The power of the other party's sword chi had increased again. He could not believe it. However, he still gritted his teeth and roared. At the same time, 2 red gloves appeared on his fists. There were even red flames floating on them, carrying a terrifying and scorching aura. With a swing of the fist, terrifying flames spread out. The whole sky seemed to have turned into a world of fire. The terrifying heat caused the void to crack. There was even a flaming demonic elephant that rose in the sky. Its huge body crushed the void. The red light on its body was like a divine flame. This flaming demonic elephant rushed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's clone was still fearless. He held the long sword in his hand and swept in all directions. Sword chi rushed out. The terrifying sword chi tore through the sky and cut all the sea of fire apart. It even split the hell demonic elephant in half. At this moment, Lin Xian's clone was extremely powerful. The sword chi on his body soared into the sky. He looked like a sword god. He looked at Wan Lishan opposite him and said coldly, "Your strength is not bad, but that's all. Now the battle is over." Chapter 1897. Lin Xian's doppelganger looked indifferent and emotionless. Wan Lishan, on the other hand, was infuriated. How dare his opponent look down on him? Unforgivable. He had just come out of seclusion, and his strength had increased tremendously. He had reached the level of a candidate holy son, and that had filled him with confidence. However, he did not expect to receive a challenge not long after he came out of seclusion. Moreover, his opponent looked down on him. "Brat, you have successfully angered me. I will let you know my true power." Wan Lishan's eyes were red, and there were even red flames dancing in his eyes. Whoosh! His eyes turned into a rainbow and pierced through the void. It was accompanied by countless flames and looked extremely terrifying. In the next moment, a red and black armor appeared on his body and wrapped around his burly body. Not only that, but flames were dancing on the armor as if it came from hell. It was cold and violent. His red hair fluttered in the air. At that moment, Wan Lishan was like a demon king, and he had a strong aura. "Kill!" Wan Lishan roared like a demon king from hell. Then he stomped his feet, and his entire body turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed over. Around him, endless red flames danced and formed the shadow of a hell demon elephant. That was his king's domain. Humph! Lin Xian's doppelganger snorted and remained unmoved. Facing Wan Lishan, who was rushing over, the sword light on his body became sharper and sharper. Then a dragon's roar could be heard from his body. A sword sealed the sky. Lin Xian's doppelganger held a long sword in his hand and quickly slashed forward. The sword Qi turned into 9 true dragons and circled around each other to form a sword diagram. Then it fell forward. Boom! 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 The sword diagram flashed and pressed down from the sky. Wherever it passed, everything was destroyed. Nothing could stop it. The red flames that filled the sky and the terrifying power were shattered in an instant. In the sky, the huge hell demon elephant domain was on the verge of collapse and its light dimmed. Impossible! How could he have such powerful sword qi? I don't believe it. Break! Wan Lishan felt the scene around him and the terrifying aura that came from it. He went crazy. He waved his fists, and waves of earth-shattering power surged into the sky. However, the sword diagram was too terrifying. With his current strength, he could not break it. Not only that, the sword diagram fell and pressed down on him. Even the light on the armor dimmed in an instant. He felt a suppression from his soul. Boom! In the next moment, the sword diagram. An earth-shattering collision. Sound rang out. Endless light, flames, and sword qi spread out in all directions. At that moment, the entire sky, as if there were countless suns that come. When all the light disappeared, the surrounding mountains had been flattened, and a deep crater had appeared on the ground. Wan Lishan was in an abnormally sorry state. His hair was disheveled, and the armor on his body was broken, dripping with blood. At this moment, 9 dragon-shaped sword qi spiraled above him, forming a sword diagram that completely suppressed him. 9 sword lights descended, aiming at Wan Lishan's vital points. As long as he used a little bit of strength, he would be able to kill him. Wan Lishan roared madly, full of unwillingness. But the other is the other. Who is he? How can he have such powerful strength? How can he suppress me so easily? Wan Lishan was a successor candidate. Even a successor candidate of the same level would not be able to defeat him so easily unless the successor was here. Could he be a successor? Thinking of this, Wan Lishan began to tremble. Who are you? What do you want? Wan Lishan asked. It doesn't matter who I am, but I do have something for you to do. Lin Xian's avatar told Wan Lishan about Lu Mingyue. You want me to give false testimony? Wan Lishan understood immediately. In the next moment, his pupils constricted, and he said coldly, Damn it, are you the one who kidnapped Lu Mingyue? Humph! Hearing Wan Lishan's words, Lin Xian's avatar's eyes lit up. In the sword diagram, a true dragon's sword qi turned into a sword radiance and pierced Wan Lishan's body. Poof! Ah! Wan Lishan screamed as he was pierced by the sword. Although it didn't hit any vital parts, the pain was enough to make him want to die. After all, the sword qi was too powerful and was destroying the energy in his body. You just have to agree. As for other things, I advise you not to ask about them. Lin Xian's cold voice sounded. Yes, I understand. Wan Lishan broke out in cold sweat. He did not dare to be presumptuous in front of Lin Xian. After all, they were in the wilderness. If he was killed, he would die in vain. Even the 4 symbols, sacred grounds, would not be able to avenge him. At least you know what's good for you. In the next moment, Lin Xian waved his hand and took out a jade slip. He threw it in front of Wan Lishan. Use your soul mark to make a statement, but I advise you not to play any tricks. Wan Lishan had no choice but to do as Lin Xian's avatar said. After he was done, he returned the jade slip to Lin Xian and said, All right, you can let me go now. Of course. Lin Xian's avatar nodded. Then, with a wave of his sleeve, The 9 dragons sword diagram above him rapidly shrunk and entered Wan Lishan's body. "What are you doing? Didn't you say you would let me go?" Wan Lishan sensed the changes in the 9 dragons sword diagram, and his face turned green in fright. He had no way of resisting such a terrifying thing. Now that the 9 dragons sword diagram had entered his body, if something were to happen, his life would be over. "Don't worry. This is just a method. As long as you behave during this period of time, I guarantee that there won't be any problems. Don't worry." In a few months, the energy of the 9 dragons sword diagram will disappear. At that time, you won't have any worries. If you don't want to, I can kill you right now. Humph! Wan Lishan gnashed his teeth. His expression was gloomy and cold. However, he had already made up his mind. After returning to the sacred grounds, he would immediately seek the help of the elders and get rid of the 9 dragons sword diagram. Afterward, he would contact the All Beginnings sacred ground. If he passed the news to the All Beginnings sacred ground, they would probably thank him. However, at this time, Lin Xian said, "Of course, this 9 dragons sword diagram is unique. Of course, my sword diagram is a little special. If someone tries to crack it, it will immediately explode. The energy is not inferior to the explosion of an Earth-tier artifact. At that time, I reckon that you won't be able to withstand it. Therefore, I advise you not to try to touch the 9 dragons sword diagram." After saying that, Lin Xian ignored Wan Lishan. His figure flickered and he left the place. Since the other party already knew about his plan, he would naturally think of a perfect method to control the other party. The 9 dragons sword diagram was indeed very dangerous. As long as someone touched it, it would definitely explode. Lin Xian wasn't joking about this. However, the 9 dragons sword diagram could only exist for a few months. But in a few months, Lu Mingyue would become the saintess of all beginnings. At that time, no matter what the world said, it would have anything to do with him. Chapter 1898. This doppelganger did not return. Instead, he was still roaming the North region. He would visit all those who had participated in the Tilted Moon mystic world. Of course, he would not battle every king. He only needed to defeat the top prodigies. He just needed to obtain their announcements. Not just the North region, but the entire Eastern wilderness. Lin Xian had to visit all the sacred grounds, great sects and great sections. After all, these people were not related to the saints. At most, they would break through and reach the level of a candidate. Therefore, Lin Xian was able to do it with ease. Soon, his second doppelganger and third doppelganger left. Even his real body was preparing to go to the Gu family. The Gu family was a clan of the ancients. It was very large. However, Gu Santong was one of the top prodigies of the Gu family's younger generation. It was very convenient to find him. At least Lin Xian could find out where Gu Santong had been recently. This time, Lin Xian did not send his doppelganger. He went himself. The North region, the North Pole. It was close to the northern plains. It was a world of ice and snow. Cold winds blew. Lin Xian flew for a few days. He used his maximum speed to gradually reach this place. He received news that Gu Santong had come to this place of ice to kill a demon king. Recently, there was a rumor that there was a very powerful ice demon wolf in this world of ice and snow. Moreover, it was an ice-type demon king. Its core happened to be the material that Gu Santong needed. After receiving the news, Gu Santong came. Therefore, Lin Xian also came here to search. In front of him was a world of ice and snow. Thousands of miles were covered in ice and snow. It was covered in silver. Other than ice, there was no other color. Therefore, the presence of a martial artist here was very conspicuous. Lin Xian did not use any armor, nor did he put up a defensive barrier. Instead, he walked directly into the icy wind. Although it was a bit bone-piercing, It was a good way to cultivate the body. He would not let go of any opportunity to cultivate. Roar! Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar came from ahead. Boom, boom, boom. This was the roar of a fiend king. It was extremely terrifying, and it produced an extremely terrifying scene. The great snow mountain in front of them experienced an avalanche amidst the roar. This was no ordinary ice. Instead, it contained boundless ice energy. Even if a king realm cultivator was suppressed beneath it, just the coldness alone would be able to freeze him into an ice cube. Thus, it could be said that it was incomparably terrifying. When ordinary kings encountered such a situation, they would turn around and run. Pum! Someone is fighting! Lin Xian was a little excited. He wanted to find someone right now. If there were people, then Gu Santong could be there. Therefore, Lin Xian did not run away. Instead, he quickly flew towards the direction of the roar of the demonic beast. In front of him was a frigid snow lion. It was extremely tall, and its fur was as white as snow. It was pure and flawless. However, it wasn't cute at all. Instead, it was extremely ferocious. His entire body was filled with a monstrous killing intent, and he was emitting a terrifying cold aura. In this world of ice and snow, there were only ice-type demonic beasts, and the frigid snow lion was no exception. It waved its claws, and endless cold wind blew, forming an ice storm. Opposite it were a few martial artists. They were all young men and women, and they were all very powerful. One look, and one could tell that they were not ordinary kings. However, they were in trouble at this moment. The frigid snow lion waved its claws, and 3 huge ice tornadoes swept towards them. Around them and above them, snow was falling. Even if they were not ordinary kings, they did not dare to be buried under the snow. Otherwise, they would never be able to get out. Fire Phoenix, godly fist! One of them roared. Then a youth waved his fists, and a red light appeared in the sky. A fiery phoenix, carrying a vast amount of heat, rushed into the sky. It spread its wings, and a sea of fire spread, blocking the ice storm and the avalanche. Boom, boom, boom. However, these 10,000-year avalanches were extremely terrifying. Moreover, the Demon King was also very powerful. Therefore, the Fire Phoenix only lasted for a short while before being frozen. Then, it was slapped into an ice cube by the frigid snow lion. Run! Taking advantage of this opportunity, the young kings quickly fled in all directions. 3 of the youths escaped, but one of the girls was blocked by the wind. Even her body was covered in frost. Oh no! Sister, be careful! Get out of the way! Cries of alarm could be heard. Obviously, the youths were all worried about the girl. However, when the frigid snow lion saw this scene, it revealed a sinister expression. Then it opened its bloody mouth and spat out an icy ball of light. It swept towards the young girl. No! Seeing this scene, the youths roared crazily. Damn beast! How dare you hurt my sister? They were really crazy. The girl was already in a very dangerous situation. Now, with the Demon King's terrifying attack, she probably would not be able to get out. If she was suppressed by the 10,000-year snow, she would probably be frozen into an ice cube immediately. The young girl's face was also filled with despair. She did not expect to be attacked like this. A look of misery appeared on her delicate face. Was she going to die here? She had never thought that she was a genius of the family who had reached such a high level at such a young age. It could be said that her future was limitless. During this period, many young masters from large families had even come to propose marriage. However, she had rejected all of them, because she wanted to reach the peak of martial arts. But now, in the face of the frigid snow lion, she could not fight back at all. This made her feel a sense of despair and unwillingness. However, there was nothing she could do. In the next moment, she closed her eyes. 2 lines of tears appeared on her delicate face. There was no way to fight back. She might as well die gracefully. Whoosh! However, at this moment, a ray of light streaked across the void. It passed through the storm and snow and came to the young girl's side. Then, a strong arm pulled her and took her away from the place. Boom! 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 The icy ball of light exploded at the original place, forming a terrifying energy. The wind whistled, and the 10,000-year snow suppressed the entire sky. The entire space was directly shattered. Sister! The youths roared crazily. Because the ray of light was too fast, they did not realize that someone had already rescued their sister. They now thought that the young girl was still buried in the snowstorm ahead. Ah, damned beast! How dare you kill my sister? I'll fight it out with you. Angry roars came one after another. The youths were about to fight with their lives. At this moment, a voice came from behind them. Brother, I'm fine. Hearing this, the youths turned around abruptly. When they saw the young girl, they were extremely excited. But soon they were stunned. The reason for that was because they discovered that there was an unfamiliar figure standing beside the young woman. Chapter 1899. Soon they were stunned. They realized that there was an unfamiliar figure standing beside the young woman. To be honest, the young woman was also surprised. She thought that she was dead for sure because she was not strong enough to fight against such terrifying energy. She did not expect that someone would save her at the critical moment. Moreover, when she opened her eyes, she realized that the person who saved her was a young man who was about her age. He was young and handsome, and he was unusually strong and unfathomable. Because the other party was able to safely rescue her from such a dangerous energy, it was enough to show that the other party's skills far surpassed his. Therefore, when she saw the confused looks on her brothers' faces, she immediately said, "It was this young hero who saved me." So that was the case. The young men heaved a sigh of relief. Then they strode forward and cupped their fists in gratitude. "Young hero, thank you for saving our lives. The Tian family is very grateful. I am Tian Fei. Thank you, sir." The young woman looked at Lin Xian gratefully. "It was nothing. You don't have to be so polite." Lin Xian nodded. He heard the sound of fighting earlier, so he came to see if it was Gu Santong. In the end, he realized that it was not Gu Santong but someone else. At that time, he saw that the girl was very dangerous, so he intervened and saved her. "By the way, did you see any other cultivators nearby?" Lin Xian asked. Tian Fei said, "Although there are not many warriors in the frozen world, there are quite a few of them. Most of them are here to hunt demon beasts and collect heavenly treasures. But who are you looking for?" "I'm looking for a disciple of the Gu family." Lin Xian did not say Gu Santong's name directly. After all, his motive would be too obvious. Gu family? Which Gu family? Could it be the Gu family of the clan of the ancients? At this time, the other young men spoke, looking shocked. "That's right. It's the Gu family that you think it is." Lin Xian nodded. "I have a friend who is a disciple of the Gu family. I'm looking for him for some matters. Although we don't know which disciple of the Gu clan your friend is, we heard that an ice demon wolf was brought out from the ice plains. It's extremely terrifying. Even the heavenly geniuses of the Gu family have taken action." "Oh, then where are the ice demon wolves?" Lin Xian's mind stirred. "We don't know the exact location, but we just need to head north." "All right. Thank you very much," Lin Xian said. Then he moved and prepared to leave. "Young master." Just as he was about to leave, Tian Fei called out again. "Is there anything else?" Lin Xian turned his head, somewhat puzzled. Tian Fei, on the other hand, blushed. She held the corner of her clothes and asked softly, "I still don't know young master's name." "Fei. I will repay young master in the future. My name is Lin Xian." With that, Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he left the place. Lin Xian, the young men were a little confused. They felt that this name was a little familiar, but they didn't know where they had heard it before. Tian Fei, even whispered to herself, as if she was trying to remember this name in her heart. Little sister, don't tell me you've taken a fancy to him? No way. Hearing this, Tian Fei's face turned even redder. It seems that little sister really has taken a fancy to him, but it's no wonder. After all, that kid is quite good-looking, and he's quite strong. Plus, he saved our little sister. It's very normal for our little sister to fall in love with him. Brother, don't make fun of me. Tian Fei, I was very shy. All right, let's go back. If you've really taken a fancy to that kid, I'll help you ask around. See which family he's from. With his strength and skills, there was no way he wouldn't be famous. Soon, Tian Fei and the rest left. On the other hand, Lin Xian didn't know about this. He once again used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and flew at full speed. More than one person had mentioned the ice demon wolf to him. It seemed that Gu Santong was aiming for this ice demon wolf. After flying for another 3 days, the surrounding ice became even thicker, turning into blue gales. Even Lin Xian had to put up a defense. Obviously, this place was extremely unusual. There might even be an ice-type spirit vein under the ground. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so cold. Moreover, there weren't many people who dared to come here. Those who could come here were definitely not weak. They were at least 6-star kings. However, 6-star kings only dared to come here. If they wanted to gain something here, ordinary 6-star kings wouldn't have any chance at all. Boom! At this moment, a low tremor suddenly came from the front. The ice under his feet also trembled slightly. There were even some small cracks on it. Someone's fighting. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. This energy fluctuation was extremely terrifying. It seemed that it was definitely a battle between experts. Whoosh! His figure flashed again, and he flew forward. The battle ahead was extremely intense. The sky was falling and the earth was cracking. Terrifying energy swept in all directions, causing the entire space to fall into an extremely dangerous state. If ordinary 6-star kings entered, they probably wouldn't be able to withstand the aftershocks. Over there, Lin Xian saw an ice demon wolf with blue wings on its back. Its body was extremely huge. That ice demon wolf was like an ancient demonic beast. It opened its bloody mouth and spat out balls of wind. Every attack easily tore through the void. As for his opponent, it was even stranger. He could only see a blurry figure appearing in all directions in the sky like a ghost. Every time he appeared, he would attack the ice demon wolf from an extremely strange angle. However, the ice demon wolf was too terrifying. A thick layer of ice blocked the attacks from the sky. Even if it was forced back, it wasn't fatal. Great void technique! It's someone from the Gu family. Lin Xian looked at the ghostly figure in front of him, and his face instantly lit up. Only the Gu family's great void technique could have such a movement technique. Other than that, he had never seen anyone with such a ghostly figure. Roar! However, at this moment, the ice demon wolf in front of him suddenly let out an angry roar. Then, an extremely powerful aura spread out from the ice demon wolf and swept in all directions. Accompanying it was a huge ball of energy. With him as the center, it swept across the entire space. In an instant, the void shattered. The ghostly figure couldn't dodge and quickly retreated. This was because the entire space had been completely destroyed. After forcing the ghostly figure out, the ice demon wolf's eyes were filled with intense killing intent. Then he raised his beast claws and clawed at that person. Boom! The terrifying beast claws covered the sky and covered the sun. It wanted to refine that ghostly figure. Whoosh! However, that silhouette was simply too strange. It disappeared into the void. Chapter 1900. When he reappeared, he was already in a safe place. Brother Gu! Lin Xian let out a long howl and flew forward in a flash. The ghostly figure at the front wanted to attack again, but it stopped when it heard Lin Xian's voice. He looked behind him with a hint of surprise. "Brother Lin, why are you here? Why are you here?" The ghostly figure was Gu Santong. He was surprised to see Lin Xian. "I have something to discuss with you." Lin Xian did not stand on ceremony. "What can you possibly want from me?" "That's strange." Gu Santong was also confused, but then he said, "Brother Lin, let's get rid of this beast first, then we can talk." "All right." Lin Xian nodded, then looked forward and frowned. "This ice demon wolf is not ordinary. Its strength is close to that of an almighty." "Yeah, that's what gives me a headache. If it was a 6-star demon king, it would be easy. But now, it's close to that of a 7-star demon king. Although I can use the void technique to dodge and fight with it, it's impossible. However, it's too difficult to truly kill it. Why don't the two of us do it together?" Lin Xian looked forward and his eyes lit up. "Let's work together and kill this beast." "Great." Gu Santong smiled as well. He knew what Lin Xian was capable of. Lin Xian was definitely not weaker than him. He might even be stronger. With the two of them working together, they could definitely kill this ice demon wolf. Roar! Seeing that the two of them were about to attack, the ice demon wolf roared and its eyes were filled with ferocity. It was a terrifying existence that was close to becoming a 7-star demon king. A 7-star demon king was equivalent to an almighty human. In other words, its strength was close to that of an almighty. Two little kings dared to be so presumptuous in front of it. They were really courting death. Hence, in the next moment, the ice demon wolf roared and attacked. It wanted to smash these two humans who dared to disturb its rest into pieces. The terrifying blue wolf claw slapped forward. It was indestructible. It was like a blue iceberg falling rapidly in the air. Boom! Boom! Not only that, but the blue wolf claw also released thousands of icy auras that froze the void. Even from afar, Lin Xian and Gu Santong felt a chill. Humph! Seeing this scene, Lin Xian and Lin Xian snorted coldly. Among them, Gu Santong's body flashed as he used the art of the void and disappeared into thin air. On the other hand, Lin Xian punched out. The terrifying black dragon fist of destruction violently surged forward. The huge black fist flew toward the sky with a vast power that could tear the world apart. Boom! Boom! In the next moment, the black fist collided with the blue wolf claw, causing a shocking explosion of light. At the same time, Gu Santong appeared behind the ice demon wolf. The long saber in his hand quickly slashed down. Pum! The saber light flashed, splitting the violent wind in the sky. The terrifying saber chi directly landed on the ice demon wolf. Boom! The ice demon wolf was sent flying, and a huge crack appeared on the thick layer of ice on its body. Roar, roar, roar! This time, the ice demon wolf was truly enraged. It spoke in human language, and its cold voice echoed in the air. "Damned ant-like humans, how dare you hurt me? This time I will tear you to pieces." It was extremely furious. As the demon king of this world, it was a force to be reckoned with. No one had ever dared to provoke it, not to mention humans. But now, 2 human brats dared to attack it. This made it extremely angry. In the next moment, a terrifying aura came from its huge body. At the same time, the wind and snow in the sky started to blow, freezing the entire world. Around them, blue frost began to form, forming a terrifying demon king's domain. The aura was extremely powerful, as if it wanted to suppress the entire space. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You haven't become a 7-star demon king yet, and you want to be so arrogant in front of us? Today, we will finish you off first." Gu Santong also snorted coldly. Both of them were the top prodigies of the younger generation. Even if the ice demon wolf was terrifying, they would not be afraid. Kill! In the next moment, Lin Xian and Gu Santong roared angrily and quickly attacked. Lin Xian pulled out the 9 swimming demonic sword and waved it. It turned into tens of thousands of dazzling sword rays. They formed a sword diagram in the air and shrouded the area in front of them. The void was torn apart in an instant. Terrifying cracks appeared one after another. The entire world was about to explode from the impact. On the other side, Gu Santong reached out his palm. On that pale palm, there was a mysterious power that spun rapidly. It was like a galaxy shining brightly. There was even a star-like existence in it. As it floated, it emitted the power of the stars. In the next moment, he slapped the stars in his palm forward. Terrifying energy whizzed and rushed towards the ice demon wolf. When the two of them joined forces, their attack was extremely terrifying. It caused the entire world to change color. The power of the two turned into waves that swept in all directions. The entire world of ice and snow shook rapidly. Roar! On the other hand, the ice demon wolf let out a furious roar as a powerful demonic aura erupted from its iceberg-like body. The blue domain around it flashed and suddenly expanded in all directions, blocking all the attacks. Lowly humans, you are nothing in front of me, the ice demon wolf roared. On the other side, Lin Xian and Gu Santong frowned. They had to admit that this ice demon wolf was extremely powerful. Furthermore, as a demon king, his defensive power and violent strength were even more astonishing. It was definitely a terrifying demon beast. However, Lin Xian and Gu Santong's expressions were serious. They decided that they had to get rid of this demon king. Boom! Lin Xian took a step forward. Sword chi exploded from his body, forming a huge sword light that circled around him. Behind Gu Santong, the Milky Way of the 9 heavens hung down. Within it, countless stars floated. The two of them used their king domains and exploded in an instant. Boom! The demonic sword in Lin Xian's hand turned into a black dragon that was hundreds of feet long. It was as heavy as a mountain, and it slashed forward. The shocking sword chi rushed into the sky. Nothing could stop the sword. Boom! The ice demon wolf's pupils shrank. It could naturally feel the terrifying power of the sword. In the next moment, it opened its bloody mouth and endless wind and snow gathered in front of it. It then formed a ball of ice and snow and spat it out quickly. Boom, boom, boom. This ball of ice and snow contained an unparalleled power that could kill any king below the almighty level. In the next moment, the ball of ice and snow and the black, demonic sword collided. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Large patches of ice and snow cracked, forming many black cracks. However, the ice demon wolf had underestimated this sword. The terrifying demonic sword, coupled with the power of the dragon sword soul, seemed to have turned into a black dragon that coiled in the void. Chapter 1901. However, the ice demon wolf had underestimated the sword. The terrifying demon sword, coupled with the power of the great dragon sword soul, seemed to have turned into a black dragon, occupying the void. The sword slashed down and quickly cut open the ice ball. Then the sword chi was like a giant dragon, enveloping the ice demon wolf. Boom! The ice demon wolf was sent flying, and the ice in front of him shattered. This time, a sword mark appeared on his body. Fresh blood flowed out, but it instantly turned into ice. Roar! Damned human, you dare to hurt me? I'm going to kill you. The ice demon wolf was furious. He did not expect a puny human to be able to hurt him. It was unbelievable. However, at this moment, he felt a sharp pain on his back. It turned out that Gu Santong had used this opportunity to use the void technique and silently appeared behind the ice demon wolf. The 9 heavens galaxy behind him carried the stars in the sky and turned into a silver ribbon, slashing forward. It directly hit the ice demon wolf's back. Immediately, a huge crack was torn open. Roar! The ice demon wolf roared wildly and attacked behind him. Wherever it passed, the void was quickly shattered. However, Gu Santong had already used the void technique and quickly dodged. He did not go far. He came to the other side of the ice demon wolf and directly used the great void technique, forming a spatial crack that quickly spread forward. Crack, crack, crack. Poof! The ice demon wolf was greatly threatened. Its body was torn apart by a strange force of space, and a terrifying wound appeared on its body. In an instant, there were many wounds on its body. If it was not for the fact that the ice demon beast used the power of ice to seal its wounds, its injuries would have been even more serious. Damned humans, you've angered me. This time, I'll definitely kill you. The ice demon wolf roared angrily. He was really angry. He did not expect the 2 humans to have such strength and be able to beat him to this extent. However, they were still far from being able to kill him. In the next moment, the ice demon wolf roared and a strong demon, chi, spread out from its body. This time, the demon chi was so terrifying that it could almost tear the sky apart. The terrifying demon chi spread out, causing the entire world of ice and snow to go berserk. Lin Xian waved his demonic sword and collided with the demonic aura. A huge explosion occurred in the sky, and a sonorous sound rang out. The demonic chi was too terrifying. It was actually able to resist the 9 Serenities' demonic sword. One had to admit that this ice demon wolf was definitely a formidable opponent. However, Lin Xian and Gu Santong were not to be trifled with. Both of them were top-tier geniuses, and their strength was even stronger. Thus, when the battle broke out, the ice demon wolf was gradually unable to hold on any longer. The ice demon wolf howled madly, but its heart was filled with shock. Because the combat strength of the 2 humans in front of him was too strong. It was terrified. One had to know that he was about to become a 7-star demon king. Among humans, he was comparable to an almighty. Its strength was incomparably powerful, but when faced with 2 human youths, it was actually suppressed. This was absolutely unimaginable. However, it would not sit still and wait for its death. A hint of madness appeared in its blue demonic eyes. With a roar, a terrifying blue demonic chi gushed out like a tidal wave, sweeping out in all directions. Under this powerful aura, Lin Xian and Gu Santong had no choice but to retreat. As for the ice demon wolf, it howled into the sky. Above its huge mouth, countless demonic chi condensed into a blue ball of light. Unlike the previous attacks, the blue ball of light contained mysterious demonic runes, like the meridians of a human, exuding a terrifying aura. Not only that, but around the blue ball of ice, a gust of wind blew, forming a huge frost vortex. The terrifying power caused the entire void to tremble, as if it would split open at any time. Other than this terrifying demonic chi, there was also an extremely strong smell of blood. It was enough to make one's scalp tingle. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian and Gu Santong's expressions turned serious. They realized that this beast was about to go all out. The 2 of them snorted coldly, and their combat strength increased again. Gu Santong's entire body floated, constantly shuttling between space and reality. As for Lin Xian, a battle armor appeared on his body, enveloping him. The terrifying blue ball of ice in front of them grew bigger and bigger, like a blue sun. Boundless power fell, piercing through the void. At this moment, the blue ball of ice was like a ruler, suppressing the entire world of ice and snow. A terrifying aura filled the air. In the next moment, the blue ball of ice was shot out by the ice demon wolf, flying towards Lin Xian and Gu Santong. Boom, boom, boom. A huge crack appeared in the void as terrifying cracks spread out in all directions. Not only that, but those cracks were quickly covered by blue frost, freezing into ice cubes. Nothing could be avoided. The terrifying murderous intent and the powerful power of ice and snow spread towards Lin Xian and Gu Santong. This power was too terrifying. Even a true powerhouse would have to be careful. Lin Xian and Gu Santong did not dare to be careless. Gu Santong's body disappeared in an instant, completely blending into the void. On the other side, Lin Xian could use the dragon sword's spiritual realm, and his entire body exuded a powerful aura. At this moment, he was like a god of war, not retreating at all, but charging forward instead. On the demonic sword in his hand, a dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared, and the terrifying power caused the entire world to tremble. With a slash of the sword, all the windstorms were completely destroyed. The terrifying, murderous intent in front of them was also blown away in an instant. The sky full of ice and snow disappeared quickly in this sword light. There was nothing that could block the sword. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, the demonic sword and the blue ball of ice collided. The entire void was completely covered by energy, and there were crazy explosions. The terrifying, murderous intent shot up to the sky. The entire space was annihilated, and at this moment a huge earthquake occurred in the world of ice and snow. Countless cracks spread into the distance. Even the martial artists hunting in the distance felt this change and raised their heads to look into the distance. This collision was too terrifying and could definitely destroy everything. On Lin Xian's body, the black armor shone brightly, blocking most of the attacks. Not only that, but countless strands of sword qi also formed a divine shield in front of him, allowing him to safely retreat. But this energy was too violent, and Lin Xian was still impacted. Ha! With a low roar, thousands of sword qi rushed out of his body, shattering all the energy. His body was surrounded by fine sword qi, forming the strongest defense, blocking all the energy attacks. On the other side, the ice demonic wolf was also constantly retreating. This energy attack was a fatal threat to him. He was not as calm as Lin Xian. The previous battle had injured him quite a bit. At this moment, coupled with the energy attack, the defense on his body was torn apart again. The terrifying energy crashed into his huge body, forming cracks one after another. It was a shocking sight, and it made one's scalp tingle. Chapter 1902. Damn it, how is this possible? He's just a puny human. How can he break my attack? The ice demon wolf's eyes glowed as he stared at Lin Xian. He was too shocked. His previous attack had been unleashed with all the demonic qi and blood in his body. It was enough to pose a threat to the Almighties. However, his opponent was able to block it. He could not believe it. Could this young man be a human mighty figure? His heart was filled with uncertainty. Buzz! However, at this moment, something strange happened. Just as he was frantically retreating, the void behind him trembled and a figure appeared. It was Gu Santong. At this moment, he was holding a golden dagger in his hand and exuding a terrifying aura. He then waved his arm and a golden light pierced forward. Poof! This attack was too powerful. It directly tore apart the ice demon wolf's huge body. It almost split him in half. Roar! 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 A terrifying crack appeared on the ice demon wolf's back. Its internal organs and bones were exposed. One of its wings fell to the ground. It was severely injured. Madness, endless madness. The ice demon wolf had never been injured like this before. In the next moment, he roared crazily and charged backward without caring about the consequences. However, Gu Santong's void technique was too mysterious. It was a divine ability left behind by the great emperor. Therefore, he disappeared from where he was in an instant. The ice demon wolf missed and went berserk. The power of frost rushed out of his body, trying to freeze and heal his wound. However, at this moment, Lin Xian shouted coldly. His long sword surged, and countless sword qi gathered in the air. It formed a terrifying giant sword and slashed downward. The giant sword flashed and carried dragon scales. It turned into a black dragon and descended from the sky, completely enveloping the ice demon wolf. Boom! Boom! A sword pierced the sky. When the sword light disappeared, the ice demon wolf's body was split in half. Its blood turned into a red river and flowed on the ice. The sword slashed a 10,000-meter long crack in the ground. It was so deep that it seemed to be connected to hell. Lin Xian and Gu Santong joined forces and killed the powerful ice demon wolf. The huge corpse fell to the ground, emitting a pungent smell of blood. Lin Xian and Gu Santong, on the other hand, did not seem to mind at all. The two of them slowly descended and approached the area. With a wave of his hand, Gu Santong took the ice demon wolf's core and said, "This thing is useful to me. As for the rest, Brother Lin can choose for himself." All right, Lin Xian didn't refuse. After all, the frost wolf was useful to him. The next moment he sat down cross-legged. With a flip of his palm, a blue ice crystal appeared in his hand. The ice crystals were sparkling and translucent, like water droplets. They circulated with boundless radiance and emitted a cold aura. This is. Gu Santong kept the demon core and looked at Lin Xian's palm. He was extremely shocked by the appearance of these icy water droplets. That was because the frost energy emitted by the frost droplet was extremely terrifying. What kind of ice is this? Gu Santong was shocked. He did not expect Lin Xian to have such a treasure. Lin Xian did not answer. He was using all his strength to activate the sea god's ice in his hand. Instantly, the sea god's ice vibrated rapidly, forming a boundless blue light that enveloped the frost wolf's corpse. The frost wolf was an ice-type demon king. It was extremely terrifying. Its cultivation was almost at the level of a 7-star demon king. It could be said that its entire body was a treasure. It was divided into 2 parts. One part was the frost wolf's core, which had already been given to Gu Santong. However, the remaining flesh and blood also contained an extremely terrifying icy aura. If it was refined completely, it would not lose out to the core at all. It might even be stronger. What Lin Xian was doing now was to refine the frost wolf's corpse, allowing the frost energy within to flow into the sea god's ice. The sea god's ice was a legendary frost treasure. At this moment, it was madly absorbing the frost energy within the frost wolf's corpse. This process lasted for 2.5 days. The huge frost wolf's corpse was completely refined. All the frost energy was channeled into the sea god's ice, and the sea god's ice emitted a blue light. It released an extremely terrifying frost energy. Its power was not any weaker than the frost wolf's. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled into a smile when he sensed the energy. This was really an unexpected surprise. Originally, as his strength increased, the sea god's ice was not enough. Although the sea god's ice was powerful, Lin Xian had too little of it. But he did not expect that this time, when he came to find Gu Santong, he actually killed a powerful ice-type demon king and absorbed its energy. This caused the sea god's ice to evolve once again. The evolved sea god's ice was extremely powerful. It could even threaten powerful beings. This was definitely not a chicken rib, but a powerful aid to Lin Xian in the future. Thinking of this, Lin Xian smiled happily. Congratulations, Brother Lin. Your strength has increased greatly. Beside him, Gu Santong also smiled and said, "It is indeed an unexpected surprise." Lin Xian smiled and kept the sea god's ice. "By the way, why are you looking for me?" Gu Santong asked curiously. "There is indeed something I need to do." Lin Xian revealed his plan. The more Gu Santong listened, the more shocked he became. He naturally knew about the major events that had happened in the northern region recently. The saintess of all beginnings was killed. Not only was the entire northern region shocked, but the entire eastern wilderness was shaken. Many people were guessing which heaven-defying force dared to kill the saintess of all beginnings. However, they did not expect that all of this was done by Lin Xian. Even Gu Santong, as a genius of the clan of the ancients, was shocked to hear such news. Brother Lin, I have to say you are really crazy. Gu Santong did not know what to say. Even he did not dare to kill the saintess of all beginnings. After all, the saintess was the future master of the Holy Land. Also, doesn't the saintess usually have a protector? And the saintess of all beginnings brought two powerful beings. How did you succeed? This was also what he did not understand. To be able to fight against three powerful beings was definitely not something an ordinary force could do. Therefore, everyone's thoughts went astray, and they all guessed that it was those top forces. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian had a heaven-defying formation that could directly teleport away powerful beings. There was such a formation. Gu Santong was shocked. As a disciple of the Gu family, he rarely heard of such a formation. He did not expect that Lin Xian had it. So, you want to support Lu Mingyue and make her the new saintess of all beginnings? After the shock, Gu Santong began to digest the news. Yes, but it is still very troublesome. We need to clear Lu Mingyue's name first. Of course, Brother Gu. You have to make an announcement. That's easy. It's just a small matter. Gu Santong nodded and agreed with a smile. Chapter 1903. He had a good relationship with Lin Xian to begin with. Moreover, this matter was as easy as lifting a finger for him, so it didn't affect him much. What he was truly shocked about was that he couldn't see through Lin Xian at all. What kind of background did he have? He actually had such a terrifying idea and heaven-defying methods. Of course, everyone had their own secrets, so Gu Santong wouldn't casually ask. He only needed to maintain a good relationship with Lin Xian. With Gu Santong's help, Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. After all, Gu Santong was one of the top prodigies of the northern region. With his words, many people would definitely believe him. Then Lin Xian left. However, Gu Santong didn't leave. He still needed to stay in this world of ice and snow for a while. After bidding farewell to Gu Santong, Lin Xian hurried back. At the same time, he received news that his 3 clones had also achieved good results. The disciples who had participated in the Oblique Moon Mystic World were all forced to issue such a notice. Very good. Lin Xian smiled. This plan seemed to be going smoothly. Next, they would leave the northern region and head towards the All Beginnings Holy Land. Of course, he still had to warn those from the Holy Land on the way. After returning to the northern region, Lin Xian entered the Black Earth and discovered that Lu Mingyue's injuries had mostly healed. At this moment, there was still some color on her face. The life force she had lost had also been replenished. However, she hadn't fully recovered. It seemed that she still needed some time. However, Lin Xian wasn't worried, because he could do the rest himself. Lu Mingyue only needed to recuperate before reaching the All Beginnings Holy Land. In the next few days, Lin Xian prepared to release the news. Sure enough, when Lin Xian released the news, the crowd was in an uproar when they learned that the geniuses of the top forces of the northern region had all made a statement together, stating that Lu Mingyue had been framed. Lu Mingyue said she was framed? She has never been captured, let alone become a maid. All of this is the scheme of the former saintess, Zheng Xiu. No way, there's actually such a thing? Why didn't I know about this before? Are you stupid? Zheng Xiu used to be the saintess of all beginnings. Who dared to mess with her? But now Zheng Xiu was still killed. The things she did were naturally exposed. Why do I feel that the water here is too deep? Since the saintess of all beginnings was killed, a new saintess must be chosen. But at this time, Lu Mingyue's news was released again. Could it be that she is going to become the new saintess? That's very likely, so let's not talk about her being a maid anymore. Otherwise, it won't end well in the future. Cries of surprise could be heard as the entire North region was discussing this matter, because he was too surprised. However, some of the people from the major powers were frowning, because they realized that this was absolutely not a groundless rumor. It was very likely that Lu Mingyue would return to the All Beginnings Holy Land and become the saintess. Could it be that Zheng Xiu's murder has something to do with Lu Mingyue? All kinds of guesses and rumors spread quickly, and in the North region, the experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land went crazy after hearing this news. The cause of Zheng Xiu's death was still unknown, but now Lu Mingyue was implicated. This caused them to have a headache. Moreover, the All Beginnings Holy Land was divided into several factions. One of them was Zheng Xiu's faction. They firmly believed that Zheng Xiu's murder was definitely related to Lu Mingyue. Because of that, they frantically searched for Lu Mingyue, preparing to kill her. As for the other faction, they supported Lu Mingyue's theory. After all, Lu Mingyue had been captured and turned into a maid before being kicked out of the Holy Land. Everything had happened too quickly and too suddenly. Their faction didn't even have time to react. In fact, they didn't even see Lu Mingyue's figure from start to finish. This caused them to feel incomparably sullen and angry. After all, Lu Mingyue was a genius that they had wholeheartedly nurtured. If Lu Mingyue could become the saintess, their faction status in the Holy Land would definitely rise greatly. But they never imagined that Lu Mingyue would be defeated and Zheng Xiu would become the saintess of the Holy Land. Because of that, their faction received a serious blow. But they never imagined that Zheng Xiu would be killed and news of Lu Mingyue would spread once again. Moreover, the news was extremely favorable. Because of that, hope rose in their hearts. Regardless of whether this matter is related to Mingyue or not, we must find her and protect her safety. We must escort her safely back to the Holy Land. An old man from this faction said in a deep voice. Light blossomed from his eyes, and his aura was incomparably powerful. He was an almighty expert. He had decided that he must support Lu Mingyue and make her the new saintess. The situation in the northern region changed rapidly. This news rapidly spread to the eastern wasteland. Finally, the All Beginnings Holy Land also received this news. Soon after, the entire Holy Land was in an uproar. Lu Mingyue's faction was naturally overjoyed. As for Zheng Xiu and the other geniuses, they remained silent. They even concealed their killing intent. After all, this was related to the competition for the new saintess. Every faction wanted their own genius to become the saintess. Because of that, the relationship between them became extremely tense. The All Beginnings Holy Land was divided into 7 factions. They competed with each other. Previously, Zheng Xiu belonged to the 5th faction. As for Lu Mingyue, she belonged to the 7th faction. Now that news of Lu Mingyue had spread, apart from the 7th faction, the other 6 factions all had gloomy and cold expressions. Humph, that slut is actually still alive. Someone from the 3rd faction coldly snorted. An almighty expert from the 2nd faction issued an order to secretly find Lu Mingyue and kill her. They absolutely could not allow her to return to participate in the saintess selection. The people from the 5th faction gnashed their teeth in anger. Damn it! Zheng Xiu's death is definitely related to that slut. I must find her and bring her back. Undercurrents surged in the other 6 factions. They all had killing intent toward Lu Mingyue. As for the people from the 7th faction, they naturally knew that the situation was extremely dangerous. They also sent out a large number of experts to bring Lu Mingyue back. For a time, The All Beginnings Holy Land could be said to be locked in a fierce struggle. The first faction to arrive in the northern region was naturally the fifth faction, Zheng Xiu's faction. Their hatred for Lu Mingyue was even stronger than before. Moreover, they suspected that Zheng Xiu's death was definitely related to Lu Mingyue. They sent their experts to the northern region to search for Lu Mingyue. Soon, they arrived in the northern region and met up with the cultivators from the All Beginnings Holy Land. Elder, we've already scouted the area. However, there's no news of that slut in the entire northern region. She either left or went into hiding. In short, we can't find her at all. Don't be afraid. When I came from the Holy Land this time, I brought a set of spirit formations with me. We can definitely find that slut. Chapter 1904. An old woman with a head full of white hair said. She was leaning on a purple walking stick. Her entire body was stooped, but the aura emitted from her body made everyone gasp for breath. Next, the experts of the fifth bloodline began to lay down an array formation to search for Lu Mingyue's whereabouts. This array formation was very terrifying. As long as they had something that Lu Mingyue had once used, they would be able to lock onto her tracks through the array formation. They believed that as long as she was in the northern region, they would definitely be able to find her. Unfortunately, they were still a step too late. This was because Lin Xian had left with Lu Mingyue 3 days ago. Lin Xian had no reason to stay any longer. Moreover, he was also worried that those people would come to the northern region. Therefore, he quickly left. He used Heavenly Dragon 8 steps and left the northern region at his fastest speed. Even if the people of the fifth bloodline of the All Beginnings Holy Land brought a powerful array formation, they still wouldn't be able to find them. Lin Xian headed south, preparing to rush to the All Beginnings Holy Land. Along the way, he would send out his clones to challenge and suppress the cultivators that had entered the Tilted Moon mystic world. After receiving their notice, Lin Xian didn't immediately spread it out. Instead, he waited until he arrived in another region before he spread the news. He wouldn't allow his enemies to capture his tracks. The people of the other 6 bloodlines didn't give up either. They laid down layers upon layers of restrictions in the southern region where the All Beginnings Holy Land was located. As long as they discovered any abnormalities, they would frantically hunt and kill. If one were to fly from the northern region to the southern region of the eastern wasteland, it would take more than 10 years. Therefore, Lin Xian paid a considerable price midway and directly opened a super transmission array to descend to the southern region. Firstly, there wasn't enough time. Secondly, the notice from the geniuses of the Holy Lands and Great Sects was already enough. The current Lu Mingyue definitely had the qualifications to become a saintess, as long as she could return to the All Beginnings Holy Land. Therefore, Lin Xian directly opened a super transmission array to arrive at the southern region. The southern region was different from the northern region. Most of the northern regions were plains, and there were even some places covered in ice and snow. As for the southern region, it was filled with birds, fragrant flowers, mountains, and rivers. The scenery was lush. There were even some places that were filled with continuous mountain ranges that formed hundreds of thousands of mountains. There were no humans. Even lords didn't dare to rashly enter. Pung! Lin Xian frowned as he walked through the vast mountains. Then he slashed out a ray of sword chi and split a few big trees behind him. Behind the tree trunk, there was a purple demonic beast that had been split in half. After taking a few more steps, he waved his hand, and a terrifying energy smashed the poisonous bee beside him into a bloody mist. Previously, he had thought that the world of ice and snow in the northern region was somewhat troublesome. However, he did not expect that the southern region would be even more dangerous. This place was not like a world of ice and snow. The vast mountains were filled with poisonous insects and demonic beasts. Some of the venomous bugs were so venomous that they could easily kill kings. Therefore, Lin Xian had no choice but to use his methods to veil them one by one. After crossing over a dozen mountains, Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. This time, he encountered a relatively powerful demon king. This demon king could spit poison, and it wasn't just him. There was also a small group of people. Therefore, Lin Xian directly launched a great battle. An earth-shattering battle unfolded, and the sound spread in all directions. All the mountains in the surrounding 1,000 miles were completely shattered. In the end, Lin Xian killed all the demonic beasts. The ground cracked and blood flowed like a river. However, Lin Xian's body was very clean, without a trace of blood. However, there were 4 powerful people 1,000 miles away. They were originally patrolling the surroundings to capture Lu Mingyue and her accomplices. However, suddenly they felt a violent vibration 1,000 miles away. Immediately they frowned. In the next moment, the 4 of them soared into the sky and flew forward. In front, Lin Xian killed all the demonic beasts and took out all their cores. Just as he was about to leave, he frowned and looked into the distance. He felt that there were 4 powerful forces rushing over here at high speed. They were very fast. At first, they were still far away, but in an instant they were nearby. Buzz! The 4 of them, 2 men and 2 women, were wearing chaos armor. Their auras were monstrous, and they were like gods of war. Their gazes were like lightning as they instantly locked onto Lin Xian. Speaking of which, when they first arrived here, they were also extremely shocked. The destruction in the surroundings was simply too terrifying. It was beyond their expectations. However, they soon discovered the figure below. When they saw the figure below, they were first stunned. Then, as if they had recalled something, a sinister expression appeared on their faces. "You are Lin Xian." They took out a picture scroll and compared it with the figure before sneering. "Brat, I didn't expect it to really be you." "The heavens are helping me." "Humph, you are quite cunning." "My holy land sent a large number of experts to the northern region. I didn't expect you to run over to the southern region. But so what?" "The southern region is the territory of my All Beginnings holy land. There is an inescapable net here, waiting for you to arrive. Now it is time for you to die." The 4 of them sneered, their bodies emitting terrifying, killing intent. Lin Xian furrowed his brows. He asked in a deep voice, "People from the All Beginnings holy land?" To be honest, he didn't expect the All Beginnings holy land to set up so many defenses. There were even people patrolling this uninhabited mountain. He sent out his soul and discovered that there were only these 4 people within a radius of several thousand miles or even 10,000 miles. The corners of his mouth curled up in a sneer. "Just the 4 of you, yet you dare to boast in front of me?" Seeing Lin Xian's disdainful smile, the 4 people's faces turned gloomy. "Brat, what do you have to be so arrogant about? That's right. Don't think that you are invincible just because you captured that slut Lu Mingyue. Let me tell you, the 4 of us joining hands is beyond your imagination. Hurry up and kneel down. Tell us about that slut Lu Mingyue. Perhaps if we are in a good mood, we can leave you with an intact corpse. Otherwise, if you offend us, you will definitely die without a burial ground." The 4 people were incomparably arrogant. They stood in 4 different directions, firmly locking onto Lin Xian. "Brat, are you going to obediently surrender, or are you going to wait for us to attack? I advise you to see the situation clearly. There are some people you cannot provoke." "How ignorant!" Lin Xian sneered in disdain. "It seems that the 4 of you are just holed up in the southern region. You don't know anything about the northern region. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so arrogant in front of me right now." "Northern region? What happened in the northern region?" The 4 people frowned. Seeing the other party's fearless expression, the 4 of them became vigilant. They spread out their soul power and probed their surroundings. preventing anyone from secretly attacking them. After surveying their surroundings, they discovered that apart from Lin Xian, there were no other experts around. This made the four people relax a lot. Chapter 1905. Then they sneered. No matter what happens in the North region, you can't scare us. Besides, there are so many big things happening in the North region. Could it be that you did it? Don't be ridiculous. With your strength, can you do something so earth-shattering? The four of them sneered and shook their heads. They were not moved at all. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian's face also darkened, and a cold, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Since he had encountered them, he would not be soft-hearted. Humph! Seeing that the other party dared to attack the four of them, the four sacred land martial artists in the chaotic armor immediately snorted. A terrifying, murderous intent appeared in their eyes, and it turned into a solid saber light that swept forward. Kid, kneel down. At the same time, a blue-haired youth shouted coldly and waved his hand. A terrifying palm of light appeared in the sky and slammed forward. This palm covered the sky and was like a mountain that wanted to suppress Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was calm. He waved his fist, and a terrifying black aura of destruction pierced through heaven and earth. A pair of fists turned into a true dragon that rushed forward. Boom! The huge light shield was shattered by the black dragon. Then the blue-haired youth screamed and held his arm as he frantically retreated. Want to leave? It's too late. Lin Xian took a step forward and reached the side of the blue-haired young man in an instant. Then he raised his leg and kicked the blue-haired young man into two like a heavenly blade. Explode! Blood splattered and a corpse flew. A powerful sacred land martial artist was killed in an instant. What? This is impossible. The remaining three sacred land martial artists were all dumbfounded. They looked at this scene in disbelief. One had to know that the blue-haired youth was a 6-star king. He was definitely a powerful existence, but now he could not even block a single move in the hands of the other party. He had been killed as if he was mowing grass. This huge contrast was simply unacceptable to them. This was impossible. This was not real. How could this kid have such powerful strength? They were really crazy. This time, they had received orders from the 5th bloodline of the Holy Land to search for Lu Mingyue. It was rumored that Lin Xian had once captured Lu Mingyue. Therefore, this time, Lin Xian naturally became their target. They were not familiar with Lin Xian, nor did they know that Lin Xian was the real master who killed the saintess of all beginnings. Therefore, their impression was still stuck in the tilted moon profound world. He thought that the other party was just a mere 4-star king realm, but now it seemed that they were gravely mistaken. The other party's strength was simply too terrifying. He had killed a 6-star king realm expert with a raise of his hand. This kind of strength was comparable to a saint. However, if they were to run now, their pride wouldn't be able to take it. Therefore, in the next moment, the three of them roared. Attack together! Kill him! I don't believe it. This kid can block all of our attacks. Exactly. Senior brother must have been careless just now. He didn't use his full strength, so he was killed. Let's use our full strength. I believe this brat will definitely die. 3 angry roars sounded, and then 3 terrifying attacks directly appeared. One of the women waved her arm, and a large green umbrella appeared, covering the sky. It was an Earth-grade treasure, and it bloomed with tens of thousands of bright lights in the air, turning into green blades. Like a rain of blades, it quickly slashed in all directions. At the same time, the other 2 people also attacked. One of the young men quickly waved his fist, and a vast aura appeared on his body. At the same time, a black tortoise appeared on his fist. It was incomparably terrifying, and it crushed the void. Boom! The black tortoise shadow seemed to be real, shaking the sky, and it quickly pressed down on Lin Xian. On the other side, a flying sword shone with divine light, like a divine rainbow, and it quickly slashed down. The three of them had hideous smiles on their faces, and a terrifying aura surged in the air. They believed that the three of them could definitely kill the other party together. Humph! Facing the terrifying attacks of the three people, Lin Xian was nervous. A blue cyclone appeared on his palm, blooming with terrifying cold air. Bang! He slapped out with his palm, and a terrifying icy aura erupted. The blue light that filled the sky froze the black tortoise, forming a huge ice block. Not only that, but the green blades and the red flying sword that filled the sky were all frozen at this moment. What a terrifying, icy power! Damn it, how is this possible? How can he be so powerful? What kind of ice is this? How can it freeze my black tortoise? The three of them exclaimed, and their faces were full of horror. This was completely different from what they had expected. In their opinion, the three people's attacks were extremely terrifying, and they could definitely kill the other party. Even if they could not kill the other party, they could seriously injure the other party. But now they realized that they were very wrong. The other party looked calm, and with a wave of his arm he dealt with their attacks. They could not believe this method. The other party definitely had the combat strength of a saint. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to break through their attacks so easily. Thinking of this, their faces were filled with despair, and then they screamed crazily, "Hurry up and run! Don't let him catch up!" In the next moment, the three of them did not hesitate. A powerful force erupted from their bodies, and they fled in three directions. Trying to escape, Lin Xian sneered as he watched the three of them running away. He waved his hand and sent out 3 blue gusts of cold wind that whistled in front of him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The cold wind was biting cold, and everywhere it passed, everything froze. Crack, crack, crack. The three of them had just moved when they were enveloped by the cold wind. Then their bodies came into contact with a thick layer of frost. They struggled crazily, but it was useless. This was the evolved sea god ice, and it was extremely terrifying. It could even threaten mighty figures, not to mention the 3 six-star kings. In an instant, the three of them turned into ice sculptures. Then Lin Xian's arm shook gently, and they turned into countless ice cubes and scattered on the ground. After dealing with the 4 of them, Lin Xian's expression did not change at all. However, his mind was racing because he had learned from the 4 of them that the entire southern region had been sealed by the Wanchu sacred land. If he was not careful, it was very likely that he would be discovered again. However, if he did not appear, Lu Mingyue's people would not be able to find him. Then he would not be able to bring Lu Mingyue safely into the Wanchu sacred land. This was truly a troublesome matter. After Lu Mingyue learned of this, her expression turned grave. She said gravely, "Our Wanchu sacred land is divided into 7 branches. I'm from the 7th branch. Presumably, apart from our branch, the other 6 branches all want to kill me." After all, they did not want to have another competitor. 6 branches. That's practically equivalent to the entire Wanchu sacred land. Lin Xian's expression turned grave. The Crimson Dragon also sighed. F***CK. If Ben Huang fully recovered and reached the level of a mighty figure, would we still need to be afraid of this? We can just kill our way in. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. It was indeed good that a mighty figure had come to help them. Chapter 1906. However, he didn't know any almighty experts. However, he thought of something else, the Black Earth ship. If he could reactivate the Black Earth ship, then even almighties wouldn't be able to break through its defenses. After all, it was something left behind by an unequaled king. However, ever since he came to the eastern wasteland from the Martial Heaven continent, the Black Earth ship's energy had been used up. If he wanted to activate it again, he would need a powerful energy source. However, it wasn't impossible. With Lin Xian's current strength, it was completely possible for him to obtain energy. Furthermore, he didn't need to fully activate it. He only needed to summon it when he was in danger, and they could enter it to avoid attacks. This way, the energy required wouldn't be too heaven-defying. At the very least, Lin Xian could still gather energy. Currently, this was the only way to contend against those almighties. However, ordinary energy sources wouldn't work. The reason why he could use the Heavenly Netherbird's corpse to burn the Black Earth ship was because the Black Earth ship still had some energy left. At that time, he had only activated the Black Earth ship. Now, the Black Earth ship was completely out of energy. Thus, he had to find energy sources that far surpassed the Heavenly Netherbirds. Only then could he reactivate it. There were two methods. The first was to kill 7-star king level demonic beasts in the 100,000 Great Mountains and burn their corpses as energy sources. 7-star demonic beast kings were equivalent to almighties. Furthermore, they were even harder to kill than human almighties. After all, the demonic beast's physique was extremely strong, and its vitality was also incomparably tenacious. On top of that, it had a ferocious and violent demonic aura. Their demonic chi was even more ferocious than almighties in the same realm. Although Lin Xian's strength had increased greatly and he could contend against almighties, killing such a demonic beast would still be difficult. Even if he succeeded, he would be heavily injured. Right now, he was in the territory of the All Beginnings Holy Land. If those experts discovered him and he was heavily injured, the situation would be very bad. There was also a second method, which was stone gambling. Not only did he have the martial Tao Heavenly Eye, but he also had the heavenly secret divine ability. Thus, his attainments in ocular techniques were extremely terrifying. Thus, as long as he swept his eyes over the place, he wouldn't miss out on any natural treasures. This method, it was the most reliable method. Lin Xian decided to give it a try. As long as he had 2 or 3 divine crystals as energy, he would be able to activate the Black Earth ship. At that time, he might even be able to face the All Beginnings Holy Land head-on. All right, Mingyue, you can continue recovering here. Ruzalong, don't come out. Stay inside and study the formation. I'll change my appearance and aura. I'll take a stroll around the gambling market in the southern region and see if I can get a few divine crystals. The southern domain was vast and filled with outstanding people. Moreover, there was a stone gambling event that was going to be held in the southern region. Lin Xian's lips curled up when he heard the news. He didn't expect things to be so coincidental. Originally, he wanted to go to Cloud City to find a few big stone gambling clubs to have some fun. But he didn't expect that there would be a stone gambling convention. He would not miss such a grand event. The stone gambling meet was held in the southern region, but it involved all the forces in the eastern wilderness. Although the news that the Saintess of All Beginnings had been killed had caused a lot of commotion recently. However, this did not stop these people from coming to gamble on stones. After all, stone gambling had been popular for a long time and had been passed down since ancient times. These stones had extraordinary origins. They could even cut divine crystals and natural treasures. It could be said that they were very magical. If they could cut one out, they would definitely make a fortune. Moreover, there were often legends in the eastern wilderness that someone had cut a divine crystal and made a fortune overnight. Therefore, it attracted people's attention, and they had been yearning for it for a long time. As soon as the news of the stone gambling event spread, warriors from all directions rushed to Nanyu. Lin Xian entered a nearby city to inquire about the news. He learned that the stone gambling event would be held more than 10 days later. It would be held near the Dragon Transformation Pool in the southern region. At that time, there would be several sacred grounds and families of the remote antiquity to maintain order, to prevent people from making trouble. However, there was one thing that made Lin Xian frown. Although the stone gambling event was famous, it required an invitation. In other words, not everyone could enter. He got the news that if one didn't have an invitation, he could enter with someone who had an invitation. The owner of an invitation could bring 2 people in. Where could he get an invitation or find someone who had an invitation? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and began to think of a solution. He had the black earth, so even a mighty figure couldn't detect the people inside the black earth. It could be said that Lu Mingyue was very safe. However, the Crimson Dragon was clamoring to see it. In other words, he had to get 2 places. It seemed that he had to get an invitation. Boom! Just as Lin Xian was thinking of a solution, a surge of energy suddenly exploded on the street outside and swept in all directions. Lin Xian immediately opened the window and looked outside. The other martial artists also poked their heads out one after another, discussing animatedly. What happened? Why did someone attack at this time? Lin Xian also looked outside and saw that there were violent energy ripples on the streets outside. 3 of the warriors were directly sent flying. Opposite them stood an old man in a black robe. He carried a big black umbrella on his back that was shining with a cold light. Aren't they from the Gold Glow sect? Why did someone dare to provoke them? The crowd looked at the 3 warriors who were vomiting blood and were shocked. The Gold Glow sect was a large sect in the eastern wilderness. The 3 disciples were from the Gold Glow sect. However, they didn't expect that someone would dare to attack them. Sure enough, the 3 cultivators on the street below also looked to the front and spoke with gloomy and cold expressions. How dare you attack us? Do you know that we're from the Gold Glow sect? Old man, cut off your hands and kowtow to apologize. Otherwise, when our elders come, you'll be dead. They were indeed from the Gold Glow sect and were here to participate in the stone gambling convention. However, they were too excited and had gone ahead first. They didn't expect that someone would find trouble with them here. You 3 brats, you're too arrogant. Even if your elders saw me, they wouldn't dare to be so presumptuous. On the other side, the black-clothed old man grinned and revealed a sinister smile. Now, obediently give me your invitations. I'm in a good mood, so I can spare your lives. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die without a burial place. You're courting death. You think you can get an invitation from us? The warrior from the Gold Glow sect sneered. Look at you. You must be a rogue cultivator. You don't even have an invitation. How dare you come here and cause trouble? Provoking the Gold Glow sect is the biggest mistake you've made in your life. Brothers, let's kill him together. Chapter 1907. The 3 martial artists of Golden Sunset sect roared, and then a majestic power surged in all directions. The terrifying aura, accompanied by rolling thunder, shrouded the front. Damn old things, go to hell! The 3 of them sneered. Boom! 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 They quickly waved their fists, and a golden light turned into a terrifying golden flood dragon that soared into the sky. Each flood dragon phantom seemed to be cast in gold and carried a powerful force. What a terrifying power! The 3 martial artists of Golden Sunset sect were definitely experts. The surrounding martial artists were shocked when they saw the scene. Humph! However, the black-clothed old man sneered disdainfully. The next moment, he pulled out the big black umbrella behind him. The big black umbrella was as tall as a person. It was incomparably black, and there were dark blue lines engraved on it that flickered like stars. The big black umbrella opened and stood high in the sky. It was as heavy as a mountain, and a majestic pressure shrouded the front. The terrifying power made people tremble. Then, a blue and black ray of light formed in the mountain. It turned into a star and charged forward. The star was very strange. It emitted a bright light and quickly blasted forward. In an instant, the 3 golden flood dragons were all shattered. Not only that, The power of the huge star did not decrease and directly blasted the three martial artists of Golden Sunset sect. Bang! 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 The three martial artists spat out blood and were sent flying. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were all stunned. The three of them joined forces, but they couldn't block the black-clothed old man's attack. Who the hell is this old man? Damn it, it's impossible. Who the hell are you? How can you be so strong? The three martial artists of Golden Sunset sect were lying on the ground with a look of despair. Humph, you don't even know me and you dare to walk outside? The black-clothed old man sneered disdainfully. He waved his hand and grabbed the big black umbrella in the sky. Big Star Umbrella, are you old monster Dugu? The pupils of the three disciples of Golden Sunset sect shrank. You're quite knowledgeable. Yes, it's me. The black-clothed old man snorted. When the surrounding people heard this, their scalps went numb. What? He's old monster Dugu. No wonder he's so strong. That should be the Big Star Umbrella, right? It's really terrifying. It's over. It seems that the three martial artists of Golden Sunset sect have kicked an iron plate this time. Yes, old monster Dugu is only a rogue martial artist, but he's very strong. Moreover, it is said that he once dug up the tombs of many kings and obtained many treasures. So his strength is terrifying. Ordinary people don't dare to provoke him. Discussions broke out one after another. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. It seemed that this black-clothed old man called Old Man Dugu did indeed have some reputation. However, he didn't think too much about it and just watched quietly. Bye. However, after the black-clothed old man heard this, he laughed. Three little dolls, I advise you to obediently hand over your invitations. Otherwise, if you anger this old man will really kill you. At most, I'll hide in the mountains for 8 to 10 years. I don't believe that the Golden Cloud sect can find me in such a big place like the Eastern Wilderness. After 8 or 10 years, when this old man comes out again, I'm afraid that no one will remember this matter. Thus, you'll have to carefully consider whether or not you'll hand it over. There's only one chance. Damn it! Hearing the other party's threat, the faces of the three Golden Sunset sect martial artists turned ugly. Indeed, if the other party was determined to hide, no matter how powerful Golden Cloud sect was, it would be difficult to find a person. Therefore, for the sake of safety, the three of them did not dare to take the risk. They gritted their teeth and reluctantly took out an invitation card. Take the invitation card for the stone gambling convention. As he spoke, one of them threw the invitation card forward. Wang. Old eccentric Dugu waved his sleeve and took the invitation card. Then he looked at it carefully. When he found that it was indeed an invitation to the stone gambling convention, he grinned. You should have done this earlier. You could have avoided a beating. I'm in a good mood today. Hurry up and get lost. I won't kill you. As he spoke, old eccentric Dugu waved his sleeve again. 3 surging waves of energy surged out and slapped the 3 Golden Sunset sect martial artists away. Old eccentric Dugu laughed loudly. His body swayed, and he soared into the sky. The surrounding martial artists cried out in alarm, but no one dared to resist. After all, old eccentric Dugu was so powerful that they did not dare to offend him. However, Lin Xian's eyes flickered. His body swayed, and like a wisp of smoke, he disappeared from the restaurant. Then he quickly followed old eccentric Dugu. To be honest, Lin Xian did not think much of it at first. After all, this matter had nothing to do with him. However, in the end, when he saw old eccentric Dugu fight for the invitation to the stone gambling convention, Lin Xian had an idea. He also wanted to participate in the stone gambling convention, but unfortunately, he did not have an invitation. However, now, a good opportunity had presented itself to him. If he could defeat old eccentric Dugu and get the invitation. In that case, he would have the qualifications to enter. Moreover, old eccentric Dugu had snatched the invitation. If he snatched it, he would not have any burden in his heart. Thinking of this, he followed unhurriedly. In front of him, old eccentric Dugu's body flew for thousands of miles like a wild goose. Then he stopped. Surrounded by vast mountains, he was already far away from the city. Old eccentric Dugu floated in the sky. He suddenly turned his head. His eyes were like sharp sword chi, piercing through the void. At the same time his cold voice sounded. "You've been following me all the way. Hurry up and come out." Hearing this, Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. Had he been discovered? However, while he was thinking, a figure suddenly appeared in the void on the other side. It was a middle-aged man in white. He held a folding fan in his hand and dressed like a scholar. His face was cold as he floated in the void. His eyes were like blades staring ahead. "Old eccentric Dugu, you really live up to your reputation. I was so careful, but you still discovered me. There's actually someone else." Lin Xian was also surprised. The other party's concealment skills were very good. Even he was almost fooled. It was not that he could not discover the other party, but that he did not deliberately investigate. This was because he did not expect that there would be someone who had the same idea as him. However, it seemed that he had to carefully investigate the surroundings. Therefore, Lin Xian spread out his soul power to investigate the surroundings. He found that only the middle-aged man in white was following him. After all, old eccentric Dugu's strength was terrifying. Ordinary kings would not dare to have any ideas about him. This middle-aged man in white was probably not an ordinary person. Chapter 1908. Golden Brush Scholar. Do you really think you can do anything to me? You really don't know what's good for you. Why? Do you want the invitation to the stone gambling convention too? The middle-aged man in white shook his head. It's just an invitation. It's not a big deal for me. What I'm interested in is the great astral umbrella in your hand. Old man Dugu, why don't you take out the great astral umbrella and let me play with it for a few years? You're courting death. Old man Dugu was furious. The great astral umbrella was his treasure. How could he give it to someone else? Therefore, he said coldly in the next moment, "Golden Pen Scholar, since you're courting death, don't blame me." With that, he took out the great astral umbrella from his back. His body released a sharp aura again. He was like a demon king, looking down on everyone. The great astral umbrella in his hand emitted a black light. On the surface of the umbrella, there were blue lines that shone like real stars. It was very mysterious. Good. I'll see the power of the great astral umbrella today. The middle-aged man in white laughed wildly. Then a golden brush appeared in his hand. Humph! Old man Dugu snorted. He spun the great astral umbrella in his hand, releasing a terrifying aura. The great astral umbrella shone brightly, releasing a silver river that swept forward like a heavenly blade. The silver river carried a monstrous power. It cut through the void and swept toward the middle-aged man in white in an instant. Buzz! The middle-aged man in white was not afraid at all. He waved the golden brush in his hand and quickly danced in the air. The golden brush shone with golden light. However, the lines that were drawn were incomparably red, as if they were fresh blood. There was a strong smell of blood. Soon, a picture of a demon king with a ferocious face, green face, and fangs appeared in the air. The picture was very lifelike. If anyone saw it, they would be unable to help but applaud. However, there was a strange change under the influence of the golden brush. The ferocious demon king seemed to have come alive. It leaped out into the void and turned into a real demon king. Roar! A furious roar shook 3,000 miles. A terrifying force swept through the 9 heavens. Lin Xian, who was hiding in the dark and watching, was also surprised. He did not expect the mystic skills and Dharma treasures of these two people to be so magical. He had never seen it before. Therefore, at this moment, his eyes flickered as he watched carefully. In the sky, the terrifying attacks collided with each other, erupting with resplendent light. The entire world was trembling. Boundless light erupted as the ground cracked open. The surrounding mountain peaks were directly split into two halves as boundless power surged forth. Lin Xian hid in the darkness and executed Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps, quickly widening the distance. Now that he was hit by this kind of energy, he would definitely be discovered, so he came to a safe place and silently watched the battle again. In front of him, there was a shocking explosion. Subsequently, the white-robed, middle-aged man and the Dugu old ghost each retreated 3,000 meters. Their expressions were incomparably solemn, but soon after, eccentric Dugu coldly snorted. He activated the Great Star umbrella, and it expanded in the wind, turning into hundreds of giant umbrellas that reached the heavens. Like a giant sword that could split a mountain, a terrifying, murderous aura soared into the sky. At this moment, he was like a demon king. His eyes were sharp, and his robes were fluttering. A sharp aura gushed out quickly. Together with the Great Star umbrella, he unleashed a series of devastating attacks. As for the white-clothed scholar, he waved the golden brush in his hand. Strange scenes appeared one after another. Defenses, swords, and terrifying beasts were displayed in the air, turning into pure energy that surged forward. The two of them fought so fiercely that it seemed as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. Everything within a radius of 10,000 li was flattened, and nothing could stop them. Humph! The terrifying golden brush in the white-clothed scholar's hand turned into golden dragons that surged out and filled the entire sky. Each of the terrifying golden dragons was hundreds of meters long. They were extremely terrifying, and the scales on them were shining as if they were real dragons. Boom! On the other hand, the Great Star mountain shone brightly, and thousands of silver rivers drooped down, stirring rapidly and tearing the void apart. Then, all of the golden dragons were killed. The two of them fought for hundreds of rounds. Finally, eccentric Dugu seized an opportunity and activated the Great Star Mountain with all his might. The stars in the sky fell from the sky and directly blasted the white-clothed scholar away. The white-clothed, middle-aged man vomited blood, and his pure white clothes were stained with blood. His face was extremely pale, and he had received a terrifying injury. Damn it! The white-clothed, middle-aged man gritted his teeth. He had already exerted all his strength, but he couldn't defeat his opponent at all. In the end, he could only rush into the sky and disappear. If he continued to fight, his injuries would be even more serious. Humph! Eccentric Dugu sneered when he saw the other party escape. He wasn't someone that anyone could mess with, and his Great Star umbrella was extremely terrifying. Even if the other party was the mysterious Golden Brush Scholar, he wouldn't be afraid. With a wave of his sleeve, eccentric Dugu put away the Great Star umbrella and turned to leave. However, at this moment, a faint voice floated from behind. "Why, are you leaving already? I haven't seen enough yet. Why don't you leave the invitation card behind?" The voice was very calm and very young. It sounded like a young man. Eccentric Dugu's body stiffened when he heard that, and he frowned. "There's actually someone here, and I've been observing him. Why didn't he notice?" In the next moment, he suddenly turned around, and his gaze swept across the entire void like a long knife. "Who is it? Stop pretending to be mysterious. Get out here. What? You can't even find where I am. What's there to be arrogant about? I advise you to obediently put down the invitation card, and I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't let me off so easily." The faint laughter was heard again. This voice was naturally Lin Xian's. He was hiding in the void, and he was ready to make his move. Humph, what a joke. You want me to put down the invitation card with just these few words? Don't you think you're too naive? Eccentric Dugu sneered. I don't care if you're a human or a ghost. Hurry up and get out here. Otherwise, if I find you, I'll definitely tear you to pieces. He dares to threaten me. Eccentric Dugu gritted his teeth. He couldn't stand it. However, Lin Xian sighed. Since you're not willing to take the initiative to hand it over, don't blame me for making a move. In the next moment, he walked over from the void. What? Eccentric Dugu was stunned when he saw this scene. He originally thought that it would be some powerful king, but he didn't expect it to be a young man. He was only in his 20s, and he couldn't see any aura fluctuations on his body. Such a person dared to threaten him? He really didn't know what was good for him. One had to know that he was eccentric Dugu. He had lived for more than 1,000 years, and his strength was comparable to a saint. Ordinary 6-star kings would take a detour when they saw him. However, this kid in front of him dared to threaten him. He really didn't know what was good for him. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.